members of Congress and state officials who know perfectly well the claim of fraud was and is untrue, and that the election was legitimate, are so afraid of losing their power they won't say so. It has to be crystal clear that it is not patriotism, it is not standing up for America, to stand up for one man who knows full well that he lost, instead of the Constitution he was trying to subvert. Mr. Chairman, the violence and lawlessness of January 6th was unjustifiable, but our nation cannot only punish the foot soldiers who stormed our Capitol. Those who planned to overturn our election and brought us to the point of violence must also be accountable. With every effort to excuse or justify the conduct of the former president, we chip away at the foundation of our republic. Indefensible conduct is defended, inexcusable conduct is excused. Without accountability, it all becomes normal and it will recur. So as we watch the evidence today, please consider where our nation is in its history. Consider whether we can survive for another 246 years. Most people in most places on earth have not been free. America is an exception. And America continues only because we bind ourselves to our founders' principles, to our Constitution. We recognize that some principles must be beyond politics, inviolate, and more important than any single American who has ever lived. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Without objections, the chair recognizes the gentlewoman from California, Ms. Lofgren, for an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very shortly after the election, we began this meeting by returning to election night, November 3rd, 2020. As the chairman noted, we've previously presented testimony about how the election results were expected to come in that night. In certain states, ballots cast by mail before Election Day would be counted only after the polls closed that evening. That meant that election results would not be known for some time. Although President Trump's campaign manager, Bill Stepien, House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, and Jared Kushner had advised Donald Trump to encourage mail-in voting by Republicans, President Trump did not do so.
Yeah, I just remember generally, you had people arguing that we had a very, very robust get out the vote effort and that, mail-in ballots could be a good thing for us if we looked at it correctly.
There was one meeting that was had in particular. I invited Kevin McCarthy to join the meeting, he being of like mind on the issue with me, in which we made our case for why we believed mail-in voting not to be a bad thing for his campaign. But the president's mind was made up.
So it was expected before the election that the initial counts in some states, in other words, those votes cast on Election Day, would be more heavily Republican, and this would create the false perception of a lead for President Trump, a so-called red mirage. But as the results of the absentee ballots that were later counted, there could be trends towards Vice President Biden as those mail-in ballots were counted. Now, on election night, Donald Trump's advisors specifically told him he didn't have a factual basis to declare victory. He should wait for the remaining ballots to be counted. Here is campaign manager Bill Stepien.
It was far too early to be making any calls like that. Ballots were still being counted. Ballots were still going to be counted for days. And it was far too early to be making any proclamation like that. I believe my recommendation was to say that votes were still being counted It's too early to tell, too early to call the race.
But President Trump did declare victory in the late hours of election night. Not only did he declare victory, he also called for the ongoing count of votes to just stop. Stopping the count would have violated both federal and state laws and also disenfranchised millions of voters who lawfully cast their vote. He called for that action anyway. Here's what he said.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. We want all voting to stop.
We now know more about President Trump's intention for election night. The evidence shows that his false victory speech was planned well in advance, before any votes had been counted. It was a premeditated plan by the president to declare victory no matter what the actual result was. He made a plan to stay in office before Election Day. Now, the vice president's staff was concerned with what Donald Trump might do on election night. They took steps to ensure that Mr. Pence would not echo a false victory announcement from President Trump. Here's what the Vice President's counsel, Greg Jacob, told us about his preparations with the Vice President's Chief of Staff, Mark Short.
Mark had indicated to me that there was a possibility that there would be a declaration of victory within the White House that some might push for. And this is prior to the election results being known. And that he was trying to figure out a way of avoiding the vice president sort of being thrust into a position of needing to opine on that when he might not have sufficient information to do so.
Now, following this conversation, Mr. Jacob drafted a memo to Mr. Short, which the Select Committee got from the National Archives. The memo was sent on November 3rd, Election Day, and advised it is essential that the Vice President not be perceived by the public as having decided questions concerning disputed electoral votes prior to the full development of all relevant facts. A few days before the election, Mr. Trump also consulted with one of his outside advisors, inside activist Tom Fitton, about the strategy for election night. The Select Committee got this pre-prepared statement from the National Archives. As you can see, the draft statement, which was sent on October 31st, declares, "We had an election today, and I won." And the Fitton memo specifically indicates a plan that only the votes counted by the Election Day deadline, and there is no Election Day deadline, would matter. Everyone knew that ballot counting would lawfully continue past Election Day. Claiming that the counting on election night must stop before millions of votes were counted was, as we now know, a key part of President Trump's premeditated plan. On Election Day, just after 5 p.m., Mr. Fitton indicated he'd spoken with the president about the statement. Sending along again, just talked to him about the draft below. Again, this plan to declare victory was in place before any of the results had been determined. In the course of our investigation, we also interviewed Brad Parscale, President Trump's former campaign manager. He told us he understood that President Trump planned as early as July that he would say he won the election even if he lost. And just a few days before the election, Steve Bannon, a former Trump chief White House strategist and outside advisor to President Trump, spoke to a group of his associates from China and said this.
And what Trump's going to do is just declare victory, right? He's going to declare victory. But that doesn't mean he's the winner. He's just going to say he's the winner. The Democrats, more of our people vote early that count. Theirs voted mail. And so they're going to have a natural disadvantage, and Trump's going to take advantage of it. That's our strategy. He's going to declare himself a winner. So when you wake up Wednesday morning, it's going to be a firestorm. Also, if Trump is losing by 10 or 11 o'clock at night, it's going to be even crazier. No, because he's going to sit right there and say they stole it.
Agree.
I'm directing the Attorney General to shut down all ballot places in all 50 states. It's going to be no. He's not going out easy. If Biden's winning, Trump is going to do some crazy shit.
As you know, Mr. Bannon refused to testify in our investigation. He's been convicted of criminal contempt of Congress, and he's awaiting sentencing. But the evidence indicates that Mr. Bannon had advanced knowledge of Mr. Trump's intent to declare victory falsely on election night, but also that Mr. Bannon knew about Mr. Trump's planning for January 6th. Here's what Bannon said on January 5th.
All hell is going to break loose tomorrow. It's all converging, and now we're on, as they say, the point of attack, right? The point of attack tomorrow. I'll tell you this. It's not going to happen like you think it's going to happen, okay? It's going to be quite extraordinarily different. And all I can say is strap in. You have made this happen, and tomorrow it's game day. So strap in. Let's get ready.
Another close associate of Donald Trump apparently knew of Mr. Trump's intentions as well. Now, Roger Stone is a political operative with a reputation for dirty tricks. In November 2019, he was convicted of lying to Congress and other crimes and sentenced to more than 3 years in prison. He's also a longtime advisor to President Trump and was in communication with President Trump throughout 2020. Mr. Trump pardoned Roger Stone on December 23rd, 2020. Now, recently, the Select Committee got footage of Mr. Stone before and after the election from Danish filmmaker Christopher Gilbranson, pursuant to a subpoena. Right before the election, here's Roger Stone talking about what President Trump would do after the election.
Let's just hope we're celebrating. I suspect it'll be, I really do suspect it'll still be up in the air. But when that happens, the key thing to do is to claim victory. Possession is 9/10 of the law. No, we won. Fuck you. Sorry, over. We won. Yeah. You're wrong. Fuck you. ABC. I said, fuck the Lord, and let's get right to the violence. That's what I'm saying. It's no point. Time to start smashing pumpkins, if you know what I mean. Oh, yeah.
Good morning. Hello, everyone.
The Select Committee called Mr. Stone as a witness, but he invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination.
Do you believe the violence on January 6th was justified?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer your question on the basis of the Fifth Amendment.
And Mr. Stone, did you have any role in planning for the violence on January 6th?
Once again, I will assert my Fifth Amendment right to decline to answer your question.
Although we don't yet have all the relevant records of Roger Stone's communications, even Stone's own social media posts acknowledge that he spoke with Donald Trump on December 27th as preparations for January 6th were underway. In this post, you can see how Roger Stone talked about his conversations with President Trump. He wrote, "I also told the president exactly how he can appoint a special counsel with full subpoena power to ensure those who are attempting to steal the 2020 election through voter fraud are charged and convicted, and to ensure Donald Trump continues as our president." As we know by now, the idea for a special counsel was not just an idle suggestion. It was something President Trump had actually tried to do earlier that month. We know that Roger Stone was at the Willard Hotel on January 5th and 6th, and we know from other witness testimony that President Trump asked his chief of staff, Mark Meadows, to speak with Roger Stone and General Michael Flynn that night. In addition to his connection to President Trump, Roger Stone maintained extensive direct connections to two groups responsible for violently attacking the Capitol, the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys. Individuals from both of these organizations have been charged with the crime of seditious conspiracy. Now, what is seditious conspiracy?
Tell us.
It is a conspiracy to use violent force against the United States, to oppose the lawful authority of the United States. Multiple associates of Roger Stone from both the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys have been charged with this crime. Close associates of Roger Stone, including Joshua James, have pled guilty to this crime. We know that at least 7 Oath Keepers who have been criminally charged provided personal security for Roger Stone or were seen with him on January 6th or in the weeks leading up to January 6th. For example, Joshua James, the leader of the Alabama Oath Keepers, provided security for Roger Stone and was with him on January 5th. This is the picture of the two together on January 5th. James entered the Capitol on January 6th. He assaulted a police officer. Earlier this year, he pled guilty to seditious conspiracy and obstruction of Congress. Another example is the married couple, Kelly and Connie Meggs. Now, Kelly Meggs was the leader of the Florida chapter of the Oath Keepers. Both he and his wife provided security for Roger Stone, and both are charged with leading a military-style stack attack of Oath Keepers, attacking the Capitol on January 6th. Perhaps even more disturbing is Roger Stone's close association with Enrique Tarrio, the national chairman of the Proud Boys. Roger Stone's connection with Enrique Tarrio and the Proud Boys is well documented by video evidence with phone records the Select Committee has obtained. Tarrio, along with other Proud Boys, has been charged with multiple crimes concerning the attack on January 6th, including seditious conspiracy. During the attack, Tarrio sent a message to other Proud Boys claiming, "We did that." He also visited the White House on December 12th. Later that day, he posted a disturbing video claiming credit for the attack. This video, posted on January 6th, was apparently created prior to the attack. This big lie, President Trump's effort to convince Americans that he had won the 2020 election, began before the election results even came in. It was intentional, it was premeditated, it was not based on election results or any evidence of actual fraud affecting the results or any actual problems with voting machines. It was a plan concocted in advance to convince his supporters that he won. And the people who seemingly knew about that plan in advance would ultimately play a significant role in the events of January 6th. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields back.
I'm
Chair
going to
recognizes
double
gentleman
speed
from
so we can
Illinois,
catch up
Mr. Kingsminger,
live.
for an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very shortly after the election, the Trump campaign recognized that they had likely lost the election, and they informed Donald Trump of that fact. Even before the networks called the race for President Biden on November 7th, his chances of pulling out a victory were virtually non-existent, and President Trump knew it.
Do you know anybody ever told the president that he had lost and that there wasn't a chance of him winning?
I know that the president, when the networks called it, of course, he was informed about the network decision. That afternoon, at some point, myself and a handful of other folks went over and sat down with the president and communicated that the odds of us prevailing in legal challenges were very small.
You know, after the election, as of November 7th, in your judgment, what were the chances of President Trump winning the election?
After that point?
Yes.
None.
At times, President Trump acknowledged the reality of his loss. Although he publicly claimed that he had won the election, privately, he admitted that Joe Biden would take over as president. Here's a few examples of that.
So we're in the Oval and there's a discussion going on. And the president says, I think it could have been Pompeo, but he says words to the effect of, yeah, we lost, we need to let that issue go to the next guy, meaning President Biden.
I remember maybe a week after the election was called, I popped into the Oval just to give the president the headlines and see how he was doing. And he was looking at the TV and he said, "Can you believe I lost to this effing guy?"
Mark raised it with me on the 18th. And so following that conversation, we're the motorcade ride driving back to the White House. And I had said, does the president really think that he lost? And he said, a lot of times he'll tell me that he lost, but he wants to keep fighting it. And he thinks that there might be enough to overturn the election, but he pretty much has acknowledged that he's lost.
Knowing that he had lost and that he had only weeks left in office, President Trump rushed to complete his unfinished business. One key example is this. President Trump issued an order for large-scale U.S. troop withdrawals. He disregarded concerns about the consequences for fragile governments on the front lines of the fight against ISIS and al-Qaeda terrorists. Knowing he was leaving office, he acted immediately and signed this order on November 11th, which would have required the immediate withdrawal of troops from Somalia and Afghanistan, all to be complete before the Biden inauguration on January 20th. As you watch these clips, recall that General Keith Kellogg was the National Security Advisor to the Vice President and had served as Chief of Staff to the National Security Council for President Trump. And General Milley was the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff at the Pentagon.
Are you familiar with a memo that the President reportedly signed on November 11th, 2020, ordering that troops be withdrawn from Afghanistan and Somalia?
Yes. So I think you might have seen some things where there's a memo or something from Johnny McEntee to Douglas McGregor. It says, here's your task to get U.S. forces out of Somalia, get U.S. forces out of Afghanistan.
When you first interviewed and met Colonel Douglas McGregor, is it fair to say you discussed this decision of withdrawing from Somalia and Afghanistan, correct?
Yeah, I'm sure that was part of it, yeah.
And that was the position that he was taking over there was senior advisor to the Secretary of Defense, is that correct?
Yes.
So on that same day, just so I'm clear, he responded back to you that they, meaning DOD leadership, was not going to take any of those steps without an order.
Without a directive, yeah.
I explained in language that should be in the order while I was in the meeting with McEntee, and this was my answer to him. I said, if you want this to happen, or the president wants this to happen, he's got to write an order.
So you never wrote this down in any capacity?
I sketched on a piece of paper for him some key statements. The president directs. This is, what's the right word? Boilerplate language?
Who within his office drafted the order?
Who did it?
Myself and one of my assistants.
McEntee duly types it up, brings it in to the president. President signs it, and boom, it's over, faxed over, or emailed, scanned over to Caspatel, delivers it to me.
Was it by auto pen, or was it the president himself signing it?
It was the president.
Uh-oh.
And who obtained that signature?
I did.
It is odd. It is non-standard. It is potentially dangerous. I personally thought it was militarily not feasible nor wise.
And I proceeded to tell the PPO and proceeded to tell McGregor that if I ever saw anything like that, I would do something physical, because I thought what that was done was a tremendous disservice to the nation. And by the way, it was a very, very contested issue. There were people who did not agree with getting out of Afghanistan. I appreciate their concerns. An immediate departure that memo said would have been catastrophic. It's the same thing what President Biden went through. It would have been a debacle.
Keep in mind, the order was for an immediate withdrawal. It would have been catastrophic, and yet President Trump signed the order. These are the highly consequential actions of a president who knows his term will shortly end. At the same time that President Trump was acknowledging privately that he had lost the election, he was hearing that there was no evidence of fraud or irregularities sufficient to change the outcome.
And what fraud we did find was for him.
A call with Mr. Meadows, where Mr. Meadows was asking me what I was finding and if I was finding anything. And I remember sharing with him that we weren't finding anything that would be sufficient to change the results in any of the key states.
When was that conversation?
Probably in November, mid to late November. I think it was before my child was born.
And what was Mr. Meadows' reaction to that information?
I believe the words he used were, "So there's no there."
It would be our job to track it down and come up dry because the allegation didn't prove to be true. And we'd have to, relay the news that, that tip that someone told you about those votes or that fraud or, nothing came of it. That would be our job as the truth-telling squad, and not a fun job to be. It's an easier job to be telling the president about wild allegations. It's a harder job to be telling him on the back end that that wasn't true.
What was generally discussed on that topic was whether the fraud, maladministration, abuse, or irregularities, if aggregated and read most favorably to the campaign, would that be outcome determinative? And I think everyone's assessment in the room, at least amongst the staff, Mark Short, myself, and Greg Jacob, was that it was not sufficient to be outcome determinative.
Look, it's the right of any candidate to litigate genuine election disputes. Nobody argues that, but President Trump's litigation was completely unsuccessful. In our past hearings, we told you that the committee had identified a total of 62 election lawsuits filed by the Trump campaign and its allies between November 4th and January 6th of 2021. Those cases resulted in 61 losses and only a single victory, which did not affect the outcome for any candidate. The claims were not supported by any sufficient evidence of fraud or irregularities. In fact, they were baseless, as judges repeatedly recognized. In none of these 62 cases was President Trump able to establish any viable claims of election fraud sufficient to overturn the results of the election. In those hearings, we shared with you the words used by judges around the country in rejecting the Trump campaign's claims. It's strong language criticizing the lack of evidentiary support for the claims of election fraud in those lawsuits. For example, a federal appeals court in Pennsylvania wrote, quote, "Charges require specific allegations and proof. We have neither here." A federal judge in Wisconsin wrote, quote, "The court has allowed the former president the chance to make his case, and he has lost on the merits." Another judge in Michigan called the claims, quote, "nothing but speculation and conjecture that votes for President Trump were either destroyed, discarded, or switched to votes for Vice President Biden." A federal judge in Michigan sanctioned 9 attorneys, including Sidney Powell, for making frivolous allegations in an election fraud case, describing the case as a historic and profound abuse of the judicial process. Recently, a group of distinguished Republican election lawyers, former judges, and elected officials issued a report confirming the findings of the courts. In their report entitled "Lost, Not Stolen," these prominent Republicans analyzed each election challenge and concluded this.
What they don't
Trump
conclude.
and his supporters failed to present evidence of fraud or inaccurate results significant enough to invalidate the results of the 2020 presidential election.
Lost, not
On
stolen.
December 11th, Trump's allies lost a lawsuit in the U.S. Supreme Court that he regarded as his last chance at success in the courts. A newly obtained Secret Service message from that day shows how angry President Trump was about the outcome. Quote, "Just FYI, POTUS is pissed. Breaking news, Supreme Court denied his lawsuit. He is livid now." Cassidy Hutchison, an aide to Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, was present for that conversation and described it in this way.
This is the day that the Supreme Court had rejected that case. Mr. Meadows and I were in the White House residence at a Christmas reception. And as we were walking back from the Christmas reception that evening, the president was walking out of the Oval Office, so we crossed paths in the Rose Garden Colonnade. The president was fired up about the Supreme Court decision. And so I was standing next to Mr. Meadows, but I stepped back, so I was probably 2-3 feet catty corner from him, diagonal from him. The president's just raging about the decision and how it's wrong and why didn't we make more calls and just
Why didn't we cheat more ferociously?
anger outburst at this decision. And the president said he had said something to the effect of, "I don't want people to know we lost, Mark. This is embarrassing. Figure it out. We need to figure it out. I don't want people to know that we lost."
Our country is a country of laws.
This isn't
Every
golf where you can
person,
just pick up the
including
ball
the
and throw that
president,
bitch.
must follow the law and respect the judgment of our courts. President Trump's closest advisors held that view both then and now.
Well, do you believe the president should abide by the rulings of the courts?
Oh, yes. We should all comply with the law at all times to the best of our ability, every one of us.
So once the courts had ruled and the Electoral College had met, the election was over in your view?
Yes, I think I've said previously that when the vice president made the certification and the litigation was complete, it was complete.
Yibbity yibbity yibbity. That's
When
all,
the
folks.
Electoral College met on the 14th.
Yes, as of December 14th, is that right? I think that's the right date, yes.
I assume, Pat, that you would agree the president is obligated to abide by the rulings of the courts.
Of course.
And I assume you also would.
Everybody is obligated to abide by rules, of course.
And I assume you also would agree the president has a particular obligation to take care that the laws be faithfully executed.
That is one of the president's obligations, correct?
Ivanka, do you believe the president's obligated to abide by the rulings of the courts?
Hell no.
I do.
By mid-December of 2020, President Trump's senior staff were attempting to persuade him to concede the election outcome.
But if your question is, did I believe he should concede the election at a point in time? Yes, I did.
December 14th was the day that the states certified their votes and sent them to Congress. And in my view, that was the end of the matter. I didn't see, I thought that this would lead inexorably to a new administration.
I told him that my personal viewpoint was that the Electoral College had met, which is the system that our country is set under to elect a president and vice president. And I believed at that point that the means for him to pursue litigation was probably closed.
And you recall what his response, if any, was?
He disagreed.
Secretary of Labor Gene Scalia, the son of late Justice Scalia, visited President Trump in mid-December and explained the situation clearly.
And so I had to put a call into the president. I might have called on the 13th. We spoke, I believe, on the 14th, in which I conveyed to him that I thought that it was time for him to acknowledge that President Biden had prevailed in the election. But I communicated to the president that when that legal process is exhausted and when the electors have voted, that's the point at which that outcome needs to be expected. I told him that I did believe, yes, that once those legal processes were run, if fraud had not been established, that had affected the outcome of the election, that unfortunately, I believe that what had to be done was concede the outcome.
Not only did the courts reject President Trump's fraud and other allegations, his Department of Justice appointees, including Bill Barr, Jeffrey Rosen, and Richard Donahue, did as well. President Trump knew the truth. He heard what all his experts and senior staff were telling him. He knew he had lost the election, but he made the deliberate choice to ignore the courts, to ignore the Justice
Oh,
Department,
my speakers are off.
to ignore his
Hold on,
campaign
hold on, hold on.
leadership, to ignore senior advisors.
he can't hear you either.
And to pursue
There we
a
go.
completely
There we go.
unlawful effort
I found it.
to overturn the election. His
Can you hear us
intent was
both now?
plain.
You can hear?
Yeah,
Ignore
yeah,
the
yeah.
rule of law
Right.
and stay in power.
Okay, I've been
Mr.
pressing
Chairman, I
on my
yield back.
phone like an
Gentleman
idiot
yields back.
because I thought it was
Chair
on my end.
recognizes gentlewoman
Yeah,
from
they
Virginia,
fucking changed my
Gloria.
speakers to the Yeti, which is wrong.
Thank you, Mr.
I used
Chairman.
my
Yeah,
desktop audio.
Mid-December was a turning point.
That's what mine does every
President
time I log
Trump
in. It
made a
goes to
decision,
Yeti as
a
speakers
choice
and
to
mic.
ignore the
It's
courts
usually
and his
different every
advisors
time.
and to push forward
But that one
to
I didn't catch.
overturn the election. His efforts
Hi,
to
boys.
overturn the election were not random or disconnected. Rather, they were part of a coordinated, multi-part plan to ensure that he stayed in power. Donald Trump was the driver behind each part of this plan. He was personally and directly involved. Of course, a key
Mike
element
Buzz.
of the plan was continuing
Mike
to convince
Buzz.
tens of millions of Americans that he did not, in fact, lose.
From who?
Again, he
Someone.
did this
It ain't
even
me.
though his own campaign advisors and his Justice Department officials told him his claims of
gone
fraud
now.
were wrong.
Is it back?
In this video,
No, it's gone.
you'll see that even when top law enforcement officials told the
Might
president
be me.
his election fraud claims were false,
It normally
he
is.
still repeated the claims in the days and weeks that followed. Sometimes, even the very
I
next
specifically
day.
raised the Dominion voting machines, which I found to be among the most disturbing allegations. Disturbing in the sense that I saw absolutely zero basis for the allegations. I told them that it was crazy stuff, and they were wasting their time on that, and it was doing a grave disservice to the country.
By the way, Jata and my team are beating
that's very
your
suspect.
Norwegian champions.
Its name
1-0.
is Dominion. With the turn of a dial,
I don't
or the
want
change of a
hockey.
chip, you can press a button for Trump, and the vote goes to Biden. What kind of a system is this?
We definitely talked about Antrim County again. That was sort of done at that point because the hand recount had been done and all of that. But we cited back to that to say, you know, this is an example of what people are telling you and what's being filed in some of these court filings that are just not supported by the evidence. And this is the problem. The problem is people keep telling you these things and they turn out not to be true.
Told y'all asses he was senile.
In addition, there is the highly troubling matter of Dominion voting systems. In one Michigan county alone, 6,000 votes were switched from Trump to Biden, and the same systems are used in the majority of states in our country.
He just make this shit
I
up.
went into this and
Surely at this point, that's it. It's
tell
done.
them how crazy some of these allegations were and how ridiculous some of them were.
He said it in front of people on
I'm
TV.
talking about some of them like, you know, more absentee votes were cast in Pennsylvania than there were absentee ballots requests. You know, stuff like that. It was just easy to blow up. There was never an indication of interest in what the actual facts were.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
There were more
But now he's going to turn around and say, "Oh, he's a
than
traitor."
there were voters.
Bill
Think of
Barr's a
that.
traitor.
You had more
course he is.
votes than you had voters. That's an easy one to figure. And by the thousands.
Then he raised the big vote dump, as he called it, in Detroit.
Oh, this is amazing. This is
And
amazing.
That, you know, he said people saw boxes coming into the counting station at all hours of the morning. And I said, Mr. President, there are 630 precincts in Detroit, and unlike elsewhere in the state, they centralized the counting process, so they're not counted in each precinct. They're moved to counting stations, and so the normal process would involve boxes coming in at all different hours.
You don't even know
This is
you don't even know how it worked.
At 6:31 in the morning, a vote dump.
He's got props.
Sound it out. Sound it out.
772
There you go.
Use your
votes
words.
came in unexpectedly.
Don't give up.
Georgia, we looked at the tape. the interview
Because it's hard.
There is no suitcase. The president kept fixating on this suitcase that supposedly had fraudulent ballots, and that the suitcase was rolled out from under the table.
Is this shocking?
And I said,
Yeah.
no, sir, there is no suitcase. You can watch that video over and over. There is no suitcase. There is a wheeled bin where they carry the ballots, and that's just how.
Hey, that's a gimmick
ballots are in that
infringement.
Facility. There's nothing suspicious about that at all.
Exactly.
Wheeled Bin is Jartan's new podcast that comes out next month. How the fuck did they know that?
And suitcases of ballots out from
Damn it.
under a table. You all saw it on television. Totally
Quickly, let's file a copyright infringement.
Spoiled again.
This happened over and over again.
Damn, look at their
And our
teleprompters.
committee's report
Yeah.
will document
That's
it.
impressive.
Purposeful lies
But the thing is,
made in public
yes, buzzing again,
directly
Mikey.
at odds with what Donald Trump knew from unassailable sources, the Justice Department's
massive
own
feedback.
investigations and his own campaign. Donald Trump maliciously repeated this
Is it me?
nonsense to a wide
gone.
audience
Is it
over
back?
and over again.
No, it's gone.
His intent
Okay.
was to deceive. President Trump's plan
What I don't
also
get is
involved trying to
Kyle
force government
Kalinske
officials to
explained
change
this
the election
on the
outcome
night
in
of
the states he lost.
the
He
election.
personally reached out to numerous
He said
state
that
officials
the
and pressured them
physical
to take
ballots would
unlawful
be
steps to
counted
alter the
first,
election
and then the
results
mail-in
in
ballots would be
those
counted
states.
after.
These actions taken directly
Bro,
by the
he don't know
president
how
himself
elections work.
made
He
it
didn't. He
clear
wasn't paying attention the
what
first
his
time.
intentions were.
He didn't ask no
Prevent
questions the first
orderly
time,
transfer
and that is
of
apparent
power.
now.
We all recall, for
All these ones that turned up at 1 in the morning, they're all the mail-ins. They did the physical ones first.
Brad
It was explained concisely.
At the time this call occurred,
Nope,
President
nope.
Trump
Those
had
are people
already been
still
told
voting.
repeatedly by the U.S. Justice Department, by his campaign, and by his advisors that his allegations of fraud in Georgia
Like,
were
bro
false.
plays the boringest game on the planet and still cheats.
All I want to do
Mhm.
is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state. Look, we need only 11,000 votes. We have far more than that as it stands now.
Then why do you
We'll
need 'em?
have more and more. So what are we going to do here, folks? I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
How can they do the dirty on that senator? He was in black and white, was
780
Donald
votes.
Trump's in colour.
That's an extraordinary
It's,
demand by the president.
it's like,
especially since
what
he
was the
already
name of
knew
that
from the
movie?
Justice Department there was
Um,
no genuine
fuck.
basis for this request. No one could
Not
think it
Happy
would be legal
Village.
for
What
the
was it called?
Secretary of State to simply find the votes the president
Remember,
needed
it was like
in
that
order
Leave It to
win.
Beaver looking town, and everything was black and
Secretary
white. But then the
Raffensperger told the
two
president the
teenagers
truth.
started like
They
falling
lost
in
the
love,
election
and
in
things started
Georgia.
turning into color.
But President Trump did not accept
Oh,
that
what
news.
was it? It was like
Instead,
it was
he
like
suggested
right
that
around
Secretary
2000.
Raffensperger himself
The only film I can think of like that was Wizard of Oz.
It was
That's
like
a-
that.
you know,
It was
that's
like
a
that. I'm gonna find it.
criminal- That's a criminal offense. And you know, you can't
Do you
let
mean
that
like
happen.
Tobey
That's
Maguire
a
movie?
big risk.
Maybe,
For you
maybe.
And Ryan, your lawyer, that's a big risk.
I can't remember who was in it. It was so long
We
ago.
know that President Trump's
I'm-
White
I'm
House
looking.
advisors reacted negatively. Immediately after the call, Cassidy Hutchinson had a
Jartan,
conversation
where are
with
you?
Chief of Staff Mark Meadows.
Not on the stream.
I'm,
Not on the stream. Not on the stream.
Oh, okay.
I remember looking at
I'm,
him.
I'm actually
Possibly
in
think we're gonna
Westeros.
pull this off. Like that call was crazy.
You say Westeros?
And he looked at me and just started shaking his head. And he was like, "No,
Is
Cass,
it King's
he knows
Landing?
it's over. He knows he lost, but
Yep.
we're gonna keep trying. There's some good options out there still. We're gonna keep trying."
This call and other related activity is now the focus
Pleasantville.
of an ongoing criminal investigation in Fulton County, Georgia.
I've
Georgia's not the only state
heard of it. I've
where
not seen
President
it.
Trump
Me neither.
tried to pressure state
It
officials
is
to change
Tobey
the
Maguire, right?
results. He also
Getting there.
attempted to
Scroll
pressure
it.
state
But I
officials
remembered
in
it.
Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Michigan
IMDb.
to change the results in those states.
No, this
as
is
well.
from
While President Trump was
tasteofcinema.com.
pressuring state officials, he was also trying to use the Department of Justice to change the election result. His top officials told him that there was no evidence to support his claims of fraud, but he didn't care. As he told them, just say the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressmen.
It doesn't matter if there was proof
These
of an
officials
election.
would not do what he said. President Trump embarked
Yeah,
in an
double
effort
R
to install
bastard.
Jeff Clark as acting attorney general, solely because he would do what others in the department would not do. We know that Trump was doing so for a specific purpose, so Clark could corruptly employ the Justice Department's authority.
Yep, Tobey
to
Maguire.
persuade the states to flip electoral votes.
Pleasantville,
For
1998.
example, when Richard Donahue and Jeff Rosen, both appointed
That's
by
like
President
yesterday.
Trump, learned
Oh,
of Mr.
Reese
Clark's
Witherspoon,
proposal,
Jeff Daniels,
here's
and
why they
Joan
said
Allen.
they forcefully
Oh, William H. Macy's in it.
And I recall
Might be a good movie.
again saying what you're proposing is
I'll have
nothing
to check it
like the
out.
United
This
States
movie I
Justice
referenced.
Department meddling in the outcome of a presidential
Might have to watch this goddamn thing.
But more importantly,
Might
this
be
was
good.
not based on fact. This was actually contrary to the facts as developed by department investigations over the last several weeks and months. So I responded to that, and for the department to insert itself into the political process this way, I think would have had grave consequences for the country. It may very well have spiraled us into a constitutional crisis.
We know from our investigation that President Trump offered Jeff Clark the position of acting attorney general, and that Jeff Clark had decided to accept it. The only reason this ultimately did not happen is that the White House counsel and a number of Justice Department officials confronted the president in the Oval Office
And got
threatened
naked.
mass resignation.
I have to do something to spice this up.
And
My
then,
ADD is not allowing me to sit
And I
still
said
and listen.
something to the effect of you're going to have a huge personal
No, but
blowout
I just
within
don't get it.
hours,
Like the
because
fact
you're going to
that
have all
it takes
kinds of
them
problems
so
with
long to
resignation
prove
and other
something that
issues.
everybody knows
And
happened, and it happened
not gonna be
on
in
screen
anyone's
in front of the cameras, and they're still debating if
ultimately
it happened
relented
or not when everybody
only
knows that
because
it
the
has
entire
happened
leadership
because
of
there's
the
fucking
Department
video
of
footage.
Justice, as
This
well
whole
as the White
thing
House
should
counsel,
be
threatened
Done.
to
it,
resign.
it shouldn't be.
Mr. Chairman, I yield
Like,
back.
why do they have to keep on
Gentlewoman
doing this?
yields
It's,
back.
I've,
The chair recognizes
Biden's been the
the
president
gentlewoman
for
from
fucking 2
Florida,
years.
Mrs. Murphy.
I've
Well-
been here 10 minutes. I've been here 10 minutes. I just
Thank
want
you,
to
Mr.
close the
Chairman.
laptop and go, yeah, well,
President
that's
Trump's
that done
efforts
with.
to unlawfully overturn
It's,
the results of the 2020 election were
Because of
not
the
limited
14th
to the big
Amendment,
lie
everyone
of
is
pressuring state
due
officials and the
is
Department of
entitled to
Justice
due
officials.
process.
Another key
And,
part
and
of
also,
President's
when it comes to
was a scheme
presidents
to
or
assemble
sitting
fake
presidents,
electors to cast
you can't
false
really charge them
electoral
with
votes
crimes.
in the states that President Trump lost.
So he had to
This
be
was
gone.
something done
I mean, it
not
happened
only with
after he
the
left or whatever,
president's knowledge,
or after he was
but
supposed to have
also
been
with his
relieved of
direct
office. But
participation.
Ronna
well, no, he was still the
McDaniel,
president
chair
on
of the
on the
Republican
6th.
National
So we
Of course
couldn't.
he was.
testified
So
before
we
this
couldn't.
committee that
You
President
can't
Trump
do any of that
was a
stuff.
surveyor,
I
Dr.
under-
John Eastman,
I understand
called her
that,
and
Mikey,
asked her
but the
to
whole
arrange
point
for the
is
fake
the
electors
fact
to meet and
that there are
rehearse the
now
process of
safeguards
casting their
for
fake votes.
things like this. So he lost the election. That is undisputable. Like nobody's disputing that of us, anyways. And the fact that there are no safeguards, it takes them months and months and years to get through this process, says something about how broken that process is, right? If you
It's
can't,
to be fair, there was a pandemic. That's why half of this shit is over Skype.
Maybe it's they're like Ents from Lord of the Rings. It takes a
Oh, God.
really long time.
yes, but it should be, you know, all right, we've had breakfast, let's have second breakfast, and, you know, dump somebody in the North Sea or something. It's like,
11sies?
yeah.
Before 11sies, we'll have this all wrapped up.
Yeah, can we just go have tea now?
Yeah.
As part of this
Dinner, supper.
electoral slates were sent to the National
And I
Archives into the Capitol.
also I recognize the fact that this has never happened. It is an
Also tied to another
entirely new
Yeah.
coercive
situation,
campaign to make
but
Vice President Mike Pence reject or refuse to
there
count
should
certain
be
Biden
safeguards.
electoral votes,
And I don't
so
know
that
why I'm so
President
critical
Donald Trump
about
would,
this,
quote,
because our election
win
was on
re-election.
September 11th, and we
Here's what
still
Vice
don't
President
have
Pence said
Oh,
about
can't say that.
a new government.
President Trump said I had
September
the right
11th, that's a
to
date.
overturn the election.
Hold on.
President Trump is wrong. I had no right to overturn the election. The presidency belongs to the American people and the American
Buzzing
people
again.
alone. And frankly, there is no idea more un-American
That's from the clip.
than the notion that any one person could
Really?
choose the American president.
Did it
Make
go away?
No mistake.
Yeah.
President
Yeah, it's the
Trump
clip.
knew that what he was demanding Vice
Oh,
President
Jesus.
Pence
Yeah,
do was
everyone's
illegal.
audio sucks
He
compared
was
to us.
informed of
Sorry,
this
everybody.
repeatedly, and specifically on January 4th.
Even his lawyer, John Eastman, admitted in front of President Trump that this plan would break the law by violating the Electoral Count Act.
Did John Eastman ever admit, as far as you know, in front of the president, that his proposal would violate the Electoral Count Act? I believe he did on the 4th.
Why he the only one without a mask?
And Dr. Eastman confirmed this in writing.
See?
Recall this email written on January 6, in which Vice President Pence's counsel asked Dr. Eastman,
About to
"Did
make
you
me put a
advise
mask
the
on."
President
Shit.
that in your professional judgment, the Vice President does not have power to decide things unilaterally?" Dr.
Remember
Eastman replied,
masks?
"He's been so advised."
Yeah, man.
A simpler time.
Of course, President Trump's own White House counsel, Pat Cipollone,
I go with the missus to all of her gyno appointments in or not gyno. What's what do they call a pregnancy doctor?
Oh God.
OBGYN, right?
President Trump's
Yeah, no, we called it. What do we call it? Not midwife.
on the morning
Well,
of
all
Pediatrician or something. I don't
yeah,
know.
all the baby doctor appointments.
Yeah.
And all the hospitals are still full mask protocol. So,
told us
but
Yeah.
maybe they should have been always.
Maternity appointments. Of course it is.
Yeah, Mike, I know a really good doctor if you...
No, we're good.
And the word that she relayed to
Thank
that
you, though.
the president called the vice
He's
president.
got a really sharp chisel.
Apologize for being impolite, but do you
But them's the
remember what
breaks.
she said? Her father called him.
Oh, I got a new one for y'all. I got a new one.
President
Here, check it
Pence
out.
didn't waver even when his own life was endangered by President Trump at the Capitol on January 6th, as you'll see in more detail later.
Did you get that clip that
A
I
federal
sent you
judge
of
concluded, based on this and
King
other
Charles
evidence, that President
greeting
Trump's
our
Russia
new
campaign
Prime
against the
Minister?
vice
No,
president
and
likely
you and Dutch
violated
got ignored during the damn broadcast. I'm not opening messages during the broadcast. What are you trying to do to me
Department
here?
of Justice officials,
No, I
state
sent it to you
elections
to watch
officials,
post.
his
Rob.
own vice president.
It's
it's still in the chat.
President
I will
Trump's
watch it.
immense pressure.
After this
But
stream.
As we now know,
Yeah.
President Trump
Basically,
had
King
already
Charles
summoned tens of
greets
thousands of his
our
supporters to
new
Washington on January 6th
Prime
take
Minister,
back their country.
and then basically says, "Oh dear, oh dear."
On December 19th, President
It's
Trump
brilliant.
first told his supporters to come to Washington. In this and numerous other tweets, he fraudulently and repeatedly promoted January 6th as the day Americans could come and change the election outcome. For weeks, President Trump
Wow.
worked with others to plan the rally.
You going down, Charlie Brown?
Intending all along that he would send an
Buzzing's
assembled
back, man.
crowd of angry supporters to
That's
the
their
Capitol
clip,
after
dude.
his speech on the Ellipse on
It's
January
not a clip.
6th.
That's them.
We obtained a text message that one rally organizer sent on January 4th. In part, it reads that.
See? I bet you all that fucking nasty sound is gone.
Oh, it was gone whilst this was on.
Unexpectedly.
Yeah, it's them.
Again,
they have.
each
They.
of
I don't
these
know why their mic.
the big
They got
lie,
like their fucking
pressure
webcam mic
campaigns
instead of the
against
mic in front of her.
officials,
Like.
the pressure campaign against the Department
She
of
needs to
Justice
change the settings
and
from
his
Yeti.
vice president,
Yeah, she
the
definitely
fake
has to do that.
electors, summoning the mob. All of this
It might go back to default.
Trump's personal and substantial role in the plot to overturn the election.
This is Railtech.
He was intimately
She's probably
involved.
not talking loud enough.
He was the central player.
You got to get that mic right up in there, girl.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
No, not that much.
No, that's good. That's good.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Schiff, for an opening.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In our past hearings, you have
appropriate
seen
one.
direct evidence that President Trump sent a crowd of his supporters to the Capitol
Careless.
on January 6th, knowing they were armed and angry. This was the last, most desperate, and dangerous prong of his plan to disrupt the
Oh,
joint
by the way,
session.
how great is it that our
prevent
favourite
the
conspiracy
orderly
theorist
transition
has
of
been
power.
absolutely
On the morning of the
destroyed?
6th, the Secret Service was at the
I was going to talk about him
Ellipse,
today,
screening the
but I
members
forgot
of the
this was
crowd
happening.
as they entered the rally
Mhm.
site. And they noticed
Oh, no, we
something
can talk about
significant
him.
about the crowd.
Um,
Tens of thousands of people were
Mr.
outside
Jones,
the rally site.
The globalist.
but did not
Yeah,
want to go
I don't
through the
want
magnetometers,
I don't want to talk about
the metal
that. It's
detectors
just
that were used
the
to
gift that
screen for
keeps on
dangerous
giving.
weapons.
yeah.
It's
Since
like
our last
T-ball.
hearings, the select committee has received
It's
It's
over
really
right there. It's just right there. All you got to do is
Whoop.
walk up and
Nevertheless,
fucking
Secret
crush
Service
it.
text
Hit it
messages
as hard
from
as you
that
can.
period were erased In the days and
It's
months
like
following the
T-ball
attack
with
on
the
the
ball on a string.
even though documents and
Yeah.
materials
So it just
related
you don't even have to go
January
chase it.
6th
It just comes right back to you.
had already been requested
Comes back and it's got a little magnet on the bottom so it
Yeah.
resets itself.
But
Clink.
we were
Just
able
keep
to
smacking it.
obtain
Or a
nearly
pitching
1
machine.
million emails,
But
recordings,
he did.
and
Imagine
electronic
how
records from the
imagine how
Secret
it must feel
Service.
being his
Over the
lawyer,
month of August, the
right?
subcommittee
And
began
even
its
when
review
his
of
lawyer
hundreds
is
of
like
asking
this.
him questions and
multiple
and
hours
giving
of
him
that
the
material,
openest
providing
gold,
substantial
Alex is
new
like,
evidence
"Oh,
about
I'm
what
sorry, I dropped
happened on January
something, but I
6th
missed the
and the
fucking
days
floor."
leading up to it.
It's
No, but,
it's just insane.
What you're about to hear
but
is
because
just a
he's such an
sample of
egomaniac,
new
he'll overrule his own
that we have received.
attorney.
Yeah, his attorney objected about 40 times and he just kept talking. It's like, stupid fuck.
Not just violent
Shut your fucking
up.
whore mouth. He's trying to save you. No, but what I'm trying to say is that the Sandy Hook parents he's like, objection, objection! Objection! Please,
You see, I can
objection.
see this is all teed up by George Soros and Bill Gates and
Tyrants.
Yeah, this is war. This is
Yeah.
war.
President Trump was aware of the
He should have took his shirt
But
off like
it's-
the fucking
it-
sovereign citizen guy.
U.S.
Oh,
Capitol
don't. He's,
Yeah, but
he's done an
it's
and other agencies.
Go on, Jeff.
it's just that it's
gathered and
like yeah, but it's like
intelligence suggesting the
it's like a
possibility of
bad
violence
comedy sketch from
over prior to
SNL
the riot.
because
We're now going to show you
the
just a
lawyer
sample
asking the question
of the
has to
evidence we
object
have
against
received.
his own client answering his own question,
President's senior
Yeah.
advisors at the
and
Department of Justice
that's not
and
how
FBI,
that's supposed
for
to go.
example,
It's supposed to be, you
received
know,
an
the
intelligence
opposing
summary
counsel,
included material indicating that
you know,
You know-
objecting. But he,
You know when
It's-
your mate's
it's
like
just
far
that
too drunk and you're like, sorry, no, I'll take him. He's fine. Let me get him out of here. Let me get. No, I'm staying for another drink. I'm staying for another one. No, come on, mate. Come on.
He's over there doing the fucking.
They're about-
He's doing the fucking Reggie Bush spin move on you. You're like, God, this dude is fucking agile. I cannot keep he's like a wet bar of soap. I can't keep my hands on him.
Yeah, all of a sudden he's
Yes,
become a
but-
contortionist.
National Security staff in early
yes, but
January
what Wayne's
2021.
wrong because it's not
Deputy
like your
Secretary
mate
of
being
Defense
way
David
too
Norquist
drunk and
had
being
warned
thrown out
about
of
the
bar.
potential
It's basically your mate that is way
the
too
target
drunk. Is
of
like,
the attack.
yeah, I'll leave.
Here's
I'm
General
just going to
Mark
snort a
Milley,
kilo
who's
of
also
cocaine
confirmed
off this bar before I leave.
Deputy Secretary Norquist.
Hold on, I want to
Because
take a
of course
picture of me
they're gonna
doing
be
some
okay with
crimes.
that.
Yeah, and you're gonna watch me.
Yes.
Hey, watch this, watch this. I'm gonna take that cop's gun. No.
This will be fun. Let's stream it. Let's stream it.
Hold on. Take my phone.
This email, for example, was an alert that the
Or
Secret
even
Service
worse.
received on
There's a fire
December 24th.
It's a fire
With the
in the
heading,
living room. I'm going to put
Armed
it
and
out
ready,
with
Mr.
gasoline.
President. According to the
Yeah, I've got
intelligence,
this wet stuff here. It smells a bit
multiple
funny.
users online were targeting
Gotta
members
fight
of
fire
Congress,
with
instructing
fire.
others to march into the chambers.
Sets the kitchen on
January
fire.
6th and make
But
sure
I did
they
notice
know
that he did an
who to fear.
interview, exclusive
In this
interview with
report received on December 26th, the
everyone's
Secret Service
hated
field office
Canadian
relayed a
earlier.
tip that had been received
Tristan
by the
Molyneux?
FBI.
No,
According
the
to
other
the
one.
source of the tip, the Proud Boys
The one who
plan
has a
to march
holster.
armed
One of Red's
to
holster.
DC.
Yeah.
I
They
forget
think
he's Canadian.
That they will have a large enough group to march into DC.
SC, right?
How can you forget he's Canadian? And will outnumber the police so they can't.
What's his initials?
be
Because I don't know
stopped.
who you're talking about.
The source went on to
SC.
say.
Yeah, that's
their
what I said.
plan
Okay.
is to literally kill
Yeah,
people.
he can take his fucking maple
take
flapjack
this
ass back up
seriously
over his
and
fucking border. We got
investigate
enough
further.
fucking problems.
The source also made clear that the
But
Proud
someone
Boys
was,
had
who is
detailed
it?
their
I think it
plans
was
on multiple
Lance
websites,
from
like the
the
Donald.
Surfs. He said,
Win.
why have we got all these problematic Canadians going down to America to peddle their stuff?
To be fair, to be
Stefan Molyneux.
to be fair, and Justin
Prada.
Bieber and Justin Bieber.
Yes.
But to be
And
fair,
Alanis Morissette.
that was a gift. You got to take the good with the bad because they did give us Stefan Molyneux, SC, and fucking Justin Bieber. But, yeah, I said Bieber. But they did give us such sweet delights as Ryan Reynolds. So I have to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds
And
is worth
then-
all of that trouble. And Jim Carrey,
That's fair, though.
Michael Myers.
Yeah.
1776 rebel. And
I thought Myers was born in Liverpool. Did we have this discussion before?
Yes, his parents are from there.
Secret Service
Yeah,
open
yeah.
source unit flagged a social media account on the Donald.win that
All right, we
threatened
haven't been,
to bring a
listening.
sniper rifle to a rally on January 6th. The user also
Can't do
posted
that,
a
bruv.
picture of a handgun and rifle with the caption "Sunday Gun Day."
You see, the problem with
providing
gun
Overwatch
reforms is
January
criminals
6th
don't follow the
will be
laws.
Wild.
AKA this motherfucker.
Later, on the evening of January 5th, the Secret Service learned during an FBI
You know he
briefing that
testifying. Look at
right-wing
him.
groups were establishing
You got Secret Service. You got Secret Service and a cop
quick
next to him.
reaction forces readying to deploy for January 6th.
Secret Service is terrible at
Groups
being
like
secret.
The Oath Keepers were standing by at the ready should POTUS
Yeah,
request
mate, your
assistance
earpiece is hanging out.
by invoking the Insurrection
And
Act.
your bulging
Agents
vest and
were
muscles.
informed. As we all know now,
Underneath
the
your
Oath
I
Keepers
love
did
DC
play a
t-shirt,
specific
like you're
role
not
on
slick,
January
dude.
6th and had stashed weapons in Virginia for
You're
further
not Dwayne The
violence
Rock Johnson.
that evening.
Right.
Also on that day, the Secret Service was readying its security precautions for the president's speech at the Ellipse the next day. A Secret Service deputy chief instructed agents to add certain objects to the list of items that would be prohibited at the rally site, including ballistic vests, tactical vests, armored or not, and ballistic helmets. By the morning of January 6th, it was clear that the
Speaking of
Secret
Dwayne The Rock
Service
Johnson,
anticipated violence.
Black
It
Adam
felt
actually looks like it could be
calm
decent.
before the storm. One agent predicted.
I
in a
haven't seen the
protective
trailer.
intelligence
I like to
division
just watch
chat
the
group.
movies.
Another remarked how agents were watching the crazies on live stream.
Because DC
By
are due a
9:09
win.
that morning, the Secret Service could also see that many rally goers were assembled outside the security perimeter. One agent emailed, possibly
Idiot
because
force
they have stuff that couldn't come through, would probably
And
be
they
an
all
issue with
gathered.
this crowd. Just a thought. By 9:30 that morning,
They're audio again.
agents reported more than 25,000 people outside the rally site. An hour later, the Secret Service reported that the crowd was on the mall watching, but not in line. The head of the President's Secret Service Protective Detail, Robert Engel, was specifically aware of the large crowds outside the magnetometers. He passed that information along to Tony Ornato, who worked for Mark Meadows in the Chief of Staff's office. The documents we obtained from the Secret Service make clear that the crowd outside the magnetometers was armed and the agents knew it. Take a look at what they were seeing and hearing on the ground.
Yeah, let's take a
One
look.
report from the rally site at 7:58 a.m. said, some members of the crowd are wearing ballistic helmets, body armor, carrying radio equipment, and military-grade backpacks. Another,
That's what you do when you go to the
9:30
shop.
a.m., said that there were possibly OC spray, meaning pepper spray, and or plastic riot shields.
That's Orange County spray.
11:23
It's
a.m.,
called that because
agents
it's
also
hot like
reported
Brenna.
Possible armed individuals, one with a Glock,
Well, no,
one with a
it puts,
rifle.
puts out fires.
Over the next hour, agents reported
She would
possible man with a gun
love that
reported.
little bit
Confirmed
if she
pistol on
was
hip
here.
located in a tree, and one detained
I
at
have the
14th
big telly
High
all
Street
to myself.
Northwest.
I'm Brenda.
Individual had an assault rifle on his person.
Mikey flexing
Minutes
because she's
before
not here.
President Trump began
Damn
his
right.
speech,
And when she gets in here,
members
guess
of
what?
the
I'm
Federal
shutting the fuck
Protective
up.
Service, an agency tasked
And blaming me.
with
I'm
protecting
blaming
federal
both of you
workers,
assholes.
were alerted about an arrest of a protester
Miss
with a
Brenner,
gun
Miss
on
Brenner,
his
you should have heard what Wayne and Charlton were saying about you.
I have clips of all of it. I'll send it over to you in an email.
At 12:13 p.m., United
Yeah,
States
that's not
Marshals
me, that's
arrested a
Sharp.
man with a
Making an
rifle
impression.
in front of the World War II memorial.
It's be cut up clips where you've taken
These agents
specific words.
remarked
Like,
on the number of
I
weapons that had been
think Brenner
seized that
is
day,
a
speculating that the
poo.
situation could get worse.
I don't like Brenna.
With so many weapons found so far, you wonder how many are unknown, one agent wrote at 12:36 p.m. Could
You
be
are
sporting
so
after
fucking
dark.
nice, Brenna.
At 12:47 p.m., another agent responded, no doubt. The people at the Ellipse said they are moving to the Capitol after the POTUS speech. As the documents we received make clear, the Secret Service was aware of weapons
Who's that over his
possessed by
shoulder there, that
those
little
gathered
creep?
at rallies in D.C. as early as
Hey,
the
hey,
evening
hey.
before. Take this document, for instance,
Yeah, take
which
it.
details multiple
bitch.
arrests in the crowds demonstrating on January 5th. Those arrests were for weapons offenses, handguns, high-capacity feeding devices, ammunition. What the Secret Service saw on the 6th
so if this was Sweden,
was
it'd be
entirely
bicycles.
consistent with the violent rhetoric circulating
Flowers.
in the days before the joint session on
This man
pro-Trump
destroyed an
websites,
antenna.
at times amplified by the president's own advisors. On one of these sites,
Still makes me laugh, that
as
video.
you've heard,
That boy bounced someone else's
called
bike against that
Donald
fucking
Duck
truck. I was fucking
the
done,
subcommittee has
dude.
obtained a text
Fucking
message
done.
that Jason Miller,
God, that was funny.
senior communications advisor, sent to Mark Meadows less than a week before January 6th.
And they
I got
tried
the
to
base
just throw a rock,
fired
and it
up,
had to be
he
two
wrote,
people
in all caps.
left
He sent a link to this page.
How
on the
did
Donald
you turn that
Duck
And then apologised.
The linked webpage had comments about the
Almost-
joint session of Congress on January 6th.
Almost
Take a look
shattered their
at
fucking
some of those
toes.
comments. Gallows don't require electricity. If the filthy commie maggots try to push their fraud through, there will be hell to pay.
I'm gonna
Our
get some more
lawmakers
coffee.
in
This is
Congress
great.
can leave one of two ways. One, in a body bag.
I'm gonna go check the
Two,
score.
after rightfully certifying Trump the winner. Mr. Miller claimed that he had no idea about the hundreds of comments like these in the link that he sent to Mark Meadows.
If I had seen something like that, I probably would have flipped it to someone at the White, or if I had seen something of that nature, I would have said, we got to flag this for Secret Service or something of that nature.
But the Trump administration was aware of this type of violent rhetoric prior to January 6th. In fact, as we have seen, the Secret Service and other agencies knew of the prospect of violence well in advance of the president's speech at the Ellipse. Despite this, certain White House and Secret Service witnesses previously testified that they had received no intelligence about violence that could have potentially threatened any of the protectees on January 6th, including the vice president. Evidence strongly suggests that this testimony is not credible, and the committee is reviewing additional material from the Secret Service and other sources. The Secret Service was monitoring this kind of online activity and was sharing and receiving the results of that effort. They work closely with other agencies, sharing intelligence about the joint session of Congress derived from social media and other sources. The same day Jason Miller sent his text message, agents received reports about a spike in activity on another platform called Parler. This was December 30th. In this email, an agent received a report noting a lot of violent rhetoric on Parler directed at government people and entities, including Secret Service protectees. One of these protectees was Vice President Pence, perhaps the primary target of President Trump's pressure campaign in the days leading up to January 6th. The day before the joint session, on January 5th, Secret Service was aware of increased chatter focused on Vice President Pence, in particular, whether he would do what President Trump wanted him to do, reverse the results of the election in the joint session the next day, January 6th. On the morning of the 6th, agents received alerts of online threats that Vice President Pence would be, quote, a dead man walking if he doesn't do the right thing. Another agent reported, quote, I saw several other alerts saying they will storm the Capitol if he doesn't do the right thing. The anger reflected in these postings was obvious. The man at the center of the storm on January 6th, President Trump. On the evening of January 5th, President Trump gathered a few of his communications staffers in the Oval Office.
The
door was open, allowing the president and others
was he a Trump
assembled there to
sycophant
hear
at the time?
the sounds of the crowd gathered
No,
in
no,
Freedom
no,
Plaza,
no,
just a few
definitely not,
blocks from the
No?
White House. President Trump could tell.
I can't remember what
that
his
supporters
role
were
was
riled
in the
up.
whole thing.
Here again is
he
Jed
was
Deere,
the
the Deputy
minority
White
House
House
leader.
press secretary,
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
describing
Yeah, he's a
the president's
Democrat, mate.
reaction.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's what's that chops that I was thinking of?
He
Cheney.
fairly quickly moved
Yeah.
to
That's Dick Cheney. That's Bush. Vice
Yeah, no,
President.
no,
or
no,
Mitch
no,
McConnell.
crowd.
No, Liz
Liz
Cheney,
Cheney.
because she was the Republican that was bang against him.
Yeah.
Um,
Liz Cheney
just
is
that they were
she's
fired up. They were
you know,
angry. They feel
the
like
most famous
the election had been stolen. That the
Republican
election was rigged. That
on the January 2nd committee. I don't know if she's ever been like a sycophant, but she's been, you know, supporting.
No,
President,
she was no,
Yes.
it's
Republican
people
president.
The president
like,
knew the crowd was angry because he
Bill
had stoked
Barr.
that anger.
He was right up his
He knew that they
fundament
believed that the
back in
election
the day,
had
and then
been
he got
rigged and
sacked and he
stolen
switched.
because he
Same
had
as
told them
who's the
falsely
man who looked like
that it
the
had been rigged and stolen. And by the
geezer with the big
time he
moustache?
incited that angry
Mad
mob
Dog
to march on the
Maddox.
Capitol, he knew
Yeah, I
they
think
were armed and dangerous. All the better
I think
to stop
the big mustache is
peaceful
not
transfer
what the fuck
of
is his
power.
name? Yeah, but
Mr.
what I
Chairman,
think
I
is
yield
that
back.
these
Gentleman
people,
yields back.
I think
At this
they
point,
went in there with
in
good
our meeting,
intentions. They
we'll
wanted
take
to
a brief
change something.
recess.
When they started
Pursuant to
talking
the order of the
against
committee of
Trump,
today,
they got fired.
the chair declares the committee
So I think
in
their switch
recess
happened
for a
earlier.
period
The
of
fact that they
approximately
took
10 minutes.
that position in the first place is, somewhat a testament to their character, and that they just wanted a position of power and they didn't really care how they got it. But if you look at the whole fucking thing, mate, it's basically everybody
popularity
who
contest.
spoke. Yeah, everybody who spoke out against Trump at some point, they got booted out
Liz
shortly
Cheney.
thereafter. Yeah, Liz Cheney, Bill Barr,
Yeah.
Maddox. What's the guy with? I can't remember the name of the guy with the white hair and the big mustache and the glasses. What the fuck is his name again?
Something with a W.
The Lorax.
Yeah, the Lorax.
Yeah.
John
John Bolton.
Bolton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And
these people,
you got to
right,
remember,
as soon-
right at the start, you had your former FBI director as well.
Yeah.
Comey.
But Comey was never really political. Like, he was appointed by 2 or 3 different presidents to be the head of the FBI. To at least one of them, George Bush, I think, was the first one to appoint him as leader of the FBI. And even though Comey was a Republican, right, and appointed by Bush, he was never into the political game. So Obama was just like, yeah, fuck it, he's doing a good job. Let's keep him.
Hey, real quick. Oh, let me go back. You want to talk about a big geezer? Holy shit!
Yeah, he's a lump, man.
That
He's a
motherfucker.
lump.
Woo! You put him in front of the fucking Capitol. Yeah. What's up? Fucking y'all want an arms race? Let's do this. Fucking put
Who the
him.
fuck gave Shaq a badge?
Yeah, Shaq. You know Shaq's a sheriff, right? Like an actual sheriff.
I know.
But isn't he one of them like moody sheriffs that goes around like executing like warrants rather than actually being on the road?
I don't think so. I don't think he actually does anything. He talks to kids a lot.
Okay.
But I don't think he actually like rolls around doing anything proper police
I thought he
work.
executed warrants. and
When
things
we,
like
what, but what, if we talk about celebrity sheriffs, we have to talk about Steven Seagal. Come on.
Oh, fuck off.
Man, I wish he would come over to my house asking me to do something. I'll whoop his old crickety weird ass.
And it'd be like this.
This ain't fire down below. I will break your shit. Get out of my house. Get out of here.
Did you know,
Under
you know
Siege
that, like,
2.
everything that Steven Seagal has said about himself has turned out to be a fucking lie?
That's what I'm saying. He got as much fighting experience. He got as much fighting experience as me. 5 fights in middle school and 1 in high school. Same shit.
He's basically a method actor.
Yeah, so the guy that he says that he studied under the inventor of this Aikido, or what it's called, the thing that he supposed to. The problem is this guy died before, like 10 years before Steven Seagal even went to Japan, right? So he couldn't have studied. Then he claimed that he used to do like cover-ups for like CIA agents and shit.
No, wait. Now, wait a minute. I have to make a joke about the first one before you go on to the third one. Perhaps he was trained like Qui-Gon Jinn's ghost from that guy.
Oh, Jesus.
Perhaps there was like a spectral man that would teach him the fucking formations.
You know,
That's how he got it.
I swear, because it came out after his kind of like weird conversion. I think he bases himself on, the master kung fu man from Kill Bill, the one who gives it all that with his beard, who trains Uma Thurman and snatches out the eye and all that.
Yeah.
I think he based his entire character on him.
Yeah, but yes, and then
Shifu.
but it just gets better. So one of Steven Seagal's one of the things that he does is that he hits stunts, man. Like he insists that if to make the fight scenes look real, he actually has to hit them, right? But nobody's allowed to hit him.
You're right. Not the moneymaker. Hello, Miss Brenna. Buenos dias. She has joined us in the AM.
Good morning.
Hello. How are we?
Good. We missed you.
I know, but I was watching on the big TV. So.
Yeah, Wayne had some jokes about it.
Oh, here we go.
Uh-oh. All right, Wayne. I'm here.
No, Brenna.
Go on, Wayne.
I just made a joke that Mikey's gonna now throw me and Jartan under the bus. About saying stuff about you
Mikey
when
did it.
when we said nothing.
There
we
you go.
said nothing. And
there you go.
Mikey, as soon
Hey! Why are you
first
bringing me
sentence.
into this? Mikey didn't say my name. Don't bring me into this.
You see?
Mikey didn't
You
say
see?
a lot of things, but go on, Wayne. Tell everybody what Mikey did.
Okay, so we had a joke that Mikey was going to throw us under the bus for you because you weren't here, and then Mikey did exactly that.
Okay.
I don't remember it happening like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
no,
it's on the
I can't
stream.
remember this. Yeah, I can't
on the
remember
stream.
this happening. This is fake news to me.
On the
cut,
stream.
cut the feed. Cut the feed. cut.
I'm like Shakira. My hips don't lie.
This is not a double bass drum. This is just Mikey hitting the delete button on everything that is done on this stream.
Fucking
What
dropping
stream?
everything.
We're not even live.
We are live.
Where's the channel?
Mikey's just scrubbed the hard drive.
I just see me cutting wires.
God.
Pouring
There
gas.
you shears.
I'm just pouring gasoline all around my office. Just this will work. This will work.
It's all right. We can clear it up in post.
This will have to work. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
How are you, Brenna?
No, Wayne's box has gone all small. Let's zoom in on Wayne.
Oh, don't talk about my box like that.
Wow.
It's not as
I
big
have
as
feelings.
It's not as big as it used to be. Let's just say that.
That's age.
As of 20 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my box shrinks every day.
Is it because I'm in here that his box shrinks?
It's nervous.
Yeah. It's quivering.
Oh. Hashtag me too.
But speaking of old age, so I recently turned 40, right?
Oh, so you can't do
And
it
I
twice.
40 what?
40. I'm 40. And I
Oh, it's a
recently
tough life
discovered that
up
testing.
there.
Yeah, but I recently discovered that testes float.
You told us this. I don't want to hear that again. Gross. Trying to drink my coffee and I gotta think of your disgusting prunes floating in my coffee. That's all I needed.
Oh.
Brenna, paging
Oh.
Dr. Emma.
Jesus.
Where is she? She's been at AWOL for
She doesn't
too long.
She doesn't like us anymore.
She's aloof.
I want to get Ike back on the show. She's been dealing with medical stuff and she is engaged now. Sorry, Wayne.
Her loss.
She missed her chance. She should have shot her shot.
Look at this ship sailing away.
Sailing on by, baby. And there you are,
Wayne
standing
lost
on the
his-
dock with a handful of promises.
Wayne lost his fab.
Yes,
Oh.
yes. His solely fan. Nice try.
Yeah.
I almost made the joke, but I pulled the lever, Crunk. Wrong
Let's,
lever.
let's see what happens
I just gave
when she's back
I just gave you the openest of goals, and you just went like, nah.
I can't. I had to pass it. What's it called? But she's semi-retired now, so she's not working at the law firm. She's just teaching, so that should open up her availability a little bit more. Maybe we can get her back.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. Hughes is also available for our dissection.
Dissection?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you dissect
What?
him?
What are you dissecting?
His knowledge.
His brain.
Exactly. We're gonna get right in there. Just
Hey, I got a
Gonna
joke for you
go-
guys.
go on then.
What do dyslexic zombies say?
Oh, damn.
Brian's.
Oh. Ouch.
Hang on.
I love that. No one else
Yeah,
does.
it's the 70s on the phone. They want their joke back.
Brian's.
Wow.
That's
I'm
shocking.
actually in pain. That was so bad.
That was
Hey.
terrible.
Hey, I've been working on I've been working on my dad jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have
I'll-
to
right,
warm
Joe,
yourself
let's-
up, right?
It's preseason, baby. I gotta get ready.
Let's get some dad jokes on. Let's get some dad jokes on the phone.
Gotta limber up. I don't want to be, rusty.
You want to get them all prepared.
I figure Kira won't be able to
Start 'em
understand
young.
me until she's at least 10.
Yeah.
So the window's closing for when these jokes need to be rapid fire. Got to be reflex.
Mikey, I'm afraid for the calendar. Its days are numbered.
Oh no. Okay.
Sorry.
Oh man. No, you're not about to read that whole website. That was a one dad joke, actual joke. No, Wayne, don't try to sneak one more in. I see what you're doing. The arm for the train is down. Do not go around them.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly read them. I might just,
see,
intersperse them.
No.
No.
No. I forbid it.
Ha.
Don't you pull rank on me, miss.
As the only one who is not a dad, I will disallow.
Oh, you're just gonna pull the hot girl card. Yeah, okay, fine, Brandon. Do whatever you want.
Single and childless.
The world is your oyster.
I feel so nice. I could wake up when I want. I could eat what I want. I could do what I want.
Apparently, I can't wake up when I want because of damn January 6th bullshit. I was up late watching Trigun and whipping up this intro that I'm about to play. And yeah, it's like 6 o'clock and I'm trying to go to bed. They're fucking chainsawing. Look, Wayne's properly gotten himself reading these fucking jokes. I knew he couldn't help it.
This is a bad idea, guys.
But they're literally chainsawing at 6:30 in the fucking morning, right like behind my townhouse. And then I was like, all right, that can't last more than 10 minutes. So then what's he fucking do? Here comes the fucking bobcat.
Right.
I'm like, what is happening right now? Are you fucking building a house? You're starting to build the house at 6 o'clock in the fucking morning? God.
Guess it's the best time to build a house.
And of course that set
We're
zero
missing
off.
out.
Every boom
Yeah.
fucking set zero. I was like, dog, listen. I will borrow that man's chainsaw if you do not
See,
shut
what's
up.
lucky is that you have a nice little compact little dog. I have 3 German Shepherds on one side and 2 Labs on the other side. And there's got to be a Rottweiler or 2 somewhere around these parts because every single time, like a siren goes off or trucks go by, it's just a madhouse of dog barking.
Maybe it's
So,
maybe
you're lucky he's just a little compact little lap dog.
Those 3 dogs are notorious non-barkers, by the way. All 3 of them have known, them and Huskies are the quietest of breeds.
Oh no, no, they are not.
But I have to tell you, so you all know, right? My mom and dad's dog, right?
Yeah, Wolf.
So basically, my dad showed Alf this video of a guy saying, "You want to go to the park?" And then the dog in the video starts howling, right? And Dad thought it was really fucking funny because as soon as that dog started howling, Alf and Naina, both dogs, started howling along with the dog in the video. But now Park has started to be a trigger word around my dad's house.
Oh, sets off the whole thing.
So if they say park, they don't have to say anything else. They don't want to go to the park. They just say the word park, which is basically the same thing in every fucking language that I know. A park is a park is a park is a park. Right? So I was talking to my dad on FaceTime, and he was like, yeah, we just discovered why our dogs keep barking. And I was like, why? We can't say park. And I was like, what did you say, Dad? Of course, I clearly heard him say it. And he's like, and he's just like, I can't say park. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. It's like,
What?
I can't say park. And he's like, you just hear both dogs go like, for like 10 minutes straight. My dad's just sitting there with his hands in his head. And he's like, Mum came down. And she doesn't think. So she says, oh, Richard, did you say park again? And it goes on for another 10 minutes. It's hilarious. It's so funny.
Poor,
oh my God.
Those poor people just being tortured. They just want some peace and quiet in the retirement.
And they have 3 kids, and they didn't raise them right. So every time we say to our parents on the speakerphone, we all go, park?
Oh,
Going to the park today? Park? Yeah, park. Park is fun.
I laugh, but there are words that we have to spell out because Zero, and now Zero's getting smart. He's understanding what the letters mean.
Oh.
Which is bad. So we have to change the cadence. Oh, and we're back.
What did Zero say to 8?
Shut, God damn it.
Chair recognizes.
That bell looks good on you.
I'm shutting this down now, Wayne. Done.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You've had enough, Wayne.
No.
The morning of
You're
January
cut off.
6th,
You're cut off.
President Trump knew that the crowd was angry. He knew that they were armed and dangerous, and he knew that they were going to the Capitol. It's important to understand the lengths the president was willing to go to physically be at the Capitol because it was part of his strategy to disrupt Congress and to stay in power. As the time for the Ellipse rally approached, an email was circulated among intelligence officials, including Secret Service intelligence official, attaching communications among rallygoers that specifically contemplated violence. Trump has given us marching orders. One post on the Donald.Win wrote, basically, if you're east of the Mississippi, you can and should be there. Advance on the Capitol. Keep your guns hidden. Don't fuck around. Full kits, 180 rounds minimum for main rifle, another 50 for sidearm per person. What is clear from this record is that the White House had more than enough warning to warrant stopping any plan for an Ellipse rally and certainly for stopping any march to the Capitol.
That's what I never
As
understood.
evidence from
Like,
our
y'all
prior
knew they was
hearings
coming.
suggested the president was aware of this information. But despite
that's the whole
awareness of the
point.
potential for violence
Wouldn't get this with a
and weapons
bicycle.
among the crowd, the Ellipse event nevertheless went forward, and Donald Trump instructed the angry crowd, some of whom were armed, to march to the Capitol. As my colleague Mr. Schiff just described, the Secret Service reported that thousands in the crowd near the Washington Monument would not enter the rally area because magnetometers used in screening attendees would detect any prohibited items they carried. Mr. Trump knew this. His Secret Service had told him about it that morning. Even in spite of these warnings, Cassidy Hutchinson overheard the president say this shortly before he took stage.
Oh, shit.
He wanted it full, and he was angry that we weren't letting people through the mags with weapons, what the Secret Service deemed as weapons and our weapons. I was in the vicinity of a conversation where I overheard the president say something to the effect of, you know, I don't effing care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags away. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol from here. Let the people in. Take the effing mags away.
And when he went on stage, President Trump himself asked law enforcement to let his supporters in the rally site.
And I'd love to have, if
What a guy.
those tens of thousands of people would be allowed, the military, the Secret Service, and we want to thank you, and the police, law enforcement, great, you're doing a great job. But I'd love it if they could be allowed to come up here with us. Is that possible? Can you just let them come up, please?
President Trump then told his
Wow.
supporters to march to the
Fucking
Capitol.
job with the Trump.
Let's pause at this point to consider President Trump's state of mind.
Can you let
his
him in,
motivation
please?
At this moment.
Can I
By
tell
that
you who
point,
they
it was
are?
known
Believe them
to
the
Secret
first
Service
time.
that members of the crowd were armed. President Trump had been told, and there was no doubt that President Trump knew what he was going to do, sending an angry mob, a number of whom were clad in tactical gear and military garb, armed with various weapons, to the Capitol. There's no scenario where that action is benign. And there's no scenario where an American president should have engaged in that conduct. It did not matter whether President Trump believed the election had been stolen or not. This could not be justified on any basis for any reason. You may also recall testimony from our summer hearings regarding Mr. Trump's efforts to lead the mob to the Capitol himself in his angry altercation in the presidential SUV when the Secret Service told him it was far too dangerous for him to go. As we detailed in testimony from the Metropolitan
I'll show
Police
you dangerous.
and
And then he
White
fought the
House
Secret
personnel
Service guy
during our
in
July
the back
21st
seat.
hearing, information about the altercation was widely known. So widely known that one former White House employee with national security responsibilities explained that this information was in fact water cooler talk in the White House complex. As that professional told us, they remember hearing in the days after January 6th how angry the president was when he was in a limo that afternoon. That professional also testified that they were specifically informed of the president's irate behavior in the SUV by Mr. Ornato in Mr. Ornato's office. It was Mr. Engel with Mr. Ornato in that office. They'd expressed to me that the president was irate, on the drive up. Mr. Engel did not deny the fact that the president was irate. That, of course, corresponds closely with the testimony you saw this summer from Cassidy Hutchinson, a Metropolitan Police officer who was in the motorcade, and from multiple sources. Additionally, after concluding its review of the voluminous additional Secret Service communications from January 5th and January 6th, the committee will be recalling witnesses and conducting further investigative depositions based on that material. Following that activity, we will provide even greater detail in our final report. And I will also note this. The committee is reviewing testimony regarding potential obstruction on this issue, including
This geezer
testimony
knows
about
the cameras
advice
are on him.
given not to tell
He's being
the
very
committee
deliberate with his
about
language
this
and his
specific
cadence.
topic. We will address this matter in our report.
Yeah, they're reading the
Look,
script.
We also want to remind
Mum,
you
look,
now
I'm on telly.
how security professionals working in the White House complex and who reported to national security officials responded when they learned that Mr. Trump intended to lead the mob to the Capitol.
To be completely honest, we were all in a state of shock.
Because why?
Because it just, one, I think the actual physical feasibility of doing it, and then also we all knew what that implicated and what that meant. That this was no longer a rally, that this...
I didn't realize the voice thing was on for them. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with them talking?
I don't know if you want to use the word insurrection.
Well, is this
Whatever,
an
we all knew that
anonymous
this
person?
would move from a normal, democratic, public event into something else. Why were we alarmed?
Is that for their security or national security?
Both. Thousands of people to the Capitol.
Oh, okay.
I think that was
So it
enough
seems
grounds
weird.
for us to be alarmed.
President Trump was still considering traveling to the Capitol even after returning to the White House. He knew well before 2 p.m. that a violent riot was underway at the Capitol. He was aware of the ongoing lawlessness, but his motorcade was held on West Executive Avenue outside the White House because he still wanted to join the crowd. Here's Kayleigh McEnany, the White House press secretary, describing an exchange she had with the president as soon as he arrived back at the White House.
No kind of exchange.
So to the best of my recollection, I recall him being.
Oh my God!
wanting
Push your
to-
goddamn glasses up.
Saying that he wanted to physically walk.
That is so
And be
annoying.
a part of the march, and then saying that he would ride the beast if he needed to, ride in the
All
presidential limo.
small things.
From the Secret Service, the Select Committee has also obtained important new evidence on this issue. It shows how frantic this hour must have been for the Secret Service, scrambling to get the President of the United States to back down from a dangerous and reckless decision.
Do you think Trump's jet's on the
people in
tarmac
harm's
right
way.
now?
Take a look at the Secret Service email from 1:19 p.m. on January 6th, the minute that President Trump got out of the presidential vehicle back at the White House.
Surely he's done.
As soon as the president left his motorcade, leadership from the Secret Service contacted Bobby Engel, the lead agent for the presidential detail, and warned him that they were, quote, concerned about an OTR, an off-the-record movement, to the Capitol. The people sworn to protect the safety of the President of the United States and who routinely put themselves in harm's way were convinced that this was a bad idea. Secret Service documents also reveal how agents were poised to take President Trump to the Capitol later that afternoon. Agents were instructed to don their protective gear and prepare for a movement. A few minutes later, they were told the president would leave for the Capitol in 2 hours. It wasn't until 1:55 p.m. that the president's lead Secret Service agent told them to stand down.
Fucks their audio.
They're not doing an OTR to the Capitol. By then,
Someone's just learned
rioters
how
had
to
breached
do
the Capitol
Streamlabs or
and were
something.
violently attacking the efforts of the brave men and women in law enforcement trying to resist the mob. President Trump may not have gone to the Capitol on January 6th, but what he did from the White House cannot be justified. While congressional leaders, both Democrats and Republicans, worked with Vice President Pence to try and address the violence, President Trump refused urgent pleas for help from nearly everyone around him. And what he did do only made the situation worse. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Raskin, for an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The president was still exhorting his supporters at the Ellipse to go fight like hell at 12:50, around the time that the first wave of rioters first breached barricades
Could have done
defending
your hair,
the
bruv.
Capitol. Secret
It's
Service
always
documents
so
we recently
bad.
received give a timeline of precisely what the White House knew and when. At 1:19, the President's Emergency Operations Center sent an email to Secret Service, national security, and military advisors to the President and Vice President, informing them that, quote, hundreds of Trump supporters stormed through metal barricades at the back of the Capitol building about 1 p.m. Wednesday, running past security guards and breaking fences.
It was bedlam.
When the president returned to the White House around 1:20, he entered the Oval Office and was told right then about the
Look at that
onset
mush.
of violence at the Capitol. From
geezer.
that point until approximately 4 p.m., over the next 2 hours and 40 minutes, the president stayed in the White House dining room, attached to the Oval Office, and watched this unprecedented assault.
Of course he stayed in the
take place
dining
at
room
the
eating
Capitol.
cheeseburgers, fat cunt.
We have testimony from
starving.
several members of the president's White House staff establishing that President Trump
Propaganda is
refused
hungry work.
entreaties from his closest advisors and family
Insurrection is
members
hungry work.
to tell his supporters to stand down and leave the Capitol. Here's the testimony of President Trump's White House counsel, Pat Cipollone.
You wasn't having it.
I can't talk about conversations with the president, but I can generically say that I said, you know, people need to be told, there needs to be a public announcement fast that they need to leave the Capitol.
And Pat, could you let us know approximately when you said that?
Approximately when? Almost immediately after I found out people were getting into the Capitol or approaching the Capitol in a way that was violent.
You on the staff did not want people to leave the Capitol.
On the staff?
In the White House.
I can't think of anybody, you know, on that day who didn't want people to get out of the Capitol once the, you know, particularly once the violence started. No. I mean,
It seems to me that everyone's going, oh, we did say something, but someone else didn't do it, so we tried.
Staff. So I answered.
No, I said in the White House.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I thought you said who else on the staff.
What, me, Governor?
See,
I can't reveal communications, but obviously I think, you know.
Oh, I don't like this geezer.
Say it. Bend the knee, Jon Snow.
Yeah.
Get down.
Mr. Cipollone's testimony is corroborated by multiple other White House staff members, including Cassidy Hutchinson. Here's Ms. Hutchinson describing what she heard from Mark Meadows.
Cass Hutch, what's up? Calling in now, Cassidy Hutchinson.
Had said something.
Is it audio again?
You know, you heard him, Pat. He doesn't want to do anything more. He doesn't think they're doing anything wrong.
A former White House employee with national security duties similarly recalled an exchange between Mr. Cipollone and Eric Hirschman about President Trump's inaction against the mob
Who's that
assaults
geezer behind him?
underway at the Capitol.
The cow lick and the weird glasses.
Yeah.
Untrustworthy.
Hirschman said something to Mr. Cipollone. He seemed to relay that, you know, the president didn't want anything done. Throughout this period, some of the president's most important political allies, family members, and senior staff all begged him to tell his supporters to disperse and go home. They included Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, and other allies at Fox News, his son, Donald Trump Jr., the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, others in Congress and officials in the cabinet and the executive branch. All of them made appeals
we got
to
all the
Donald
Power
Trump,
Rangers there.
which he rejected and he ignored. The
Full
select
squad.
committee interviewed several people who were
Hey,
in the
Junior, you
dining
knew
room
he wouldn't finna
with
answer your
Donald
text
Trump that
messages.
afternoon, and every single one of these witnesses told us that he was watching the violent battles rage on television. He did not call his Secretary of Defense or the National
was
Guard,
watching on
the
TV.
Chief of the Capitol Police, or the Chief of the Metropolitan Police Department.
He was probably having a hamburger and fries with ketchup.
To your knowledge, was the president in that private dining room
No,
the whole
steak
time
with
that
ketchup.
the attack on the
No,
Capitol was going
overdone
on?
steak.
Well done,
Or did
yeah.
he ever go,
No,
again, like, to your
overdone.
knowledge, to the Oval Office, to the White
It's
House
just a
Situation
shoe.
Room, anywhere else?
It is.
That's my recollection. He's always
The
in
cow,
the
it's
dining
already
room.
dead.
What did they say? Mr. Meadows or the president? At all?
Stop burning her. She's already dead.
I think they were already watching the TV.
Do you know whether he was watching TV in the dining room when you talked to him on January 6th?
That was an odd pairing of people.
Yeah, look at that.
It's my understanding he was watching television.
She's very casual.
That looks like a hostage video.
Right.
Was the
Are y'all waiting in line somewhere?
violence at the Capitol visible on the screen on the television?
The vision at the Capitol violence was visible on the screen. That's what he
The
asked.
president watched the bloody
Bad audio.
attack unfold on Fox News from his dining room. Members of Congress and
Dining
other government
room, see?
officials stepped into the gigantic leadership void created by the president's chilling and studied passivity that day. What you're
This
about
guy,
to see is previously
if you was to
unseen footage
take the
of
centre
congressional
part of his
leaders,
hair and
both
make him bald,
Republicans and
he
Democrats,
looks like the
as they
janitor
were taken
from
to a
Scrubs.
secure location during the riot. You'll see how everyone involved was working
Looks like
actively
Shemp's grandson.
to stop the violence, to get federal law enforcement deployed to the scene, to put down the violence and secure the Capitol complex. Not just Democrats like Speaker Nancy Pelosi and
I
House
need to watch
Majority
some
Leader
Three
Steny
Stooges. I
Hoyer,
love Shemp.
but Republicans like Vice President Pence, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Majority Whip John Thune,
Oh, a
and
really
countless
old
other
Ross
appointees
Geller.
across the administration. All of them did what
Ross
President
Geller's
Trump
uncle.
was not doing, what he simply refused to do. Take a listen.
I'm fine.
Could you be any more? No, oh, no, that was Chandler.
Chandler.
Oh, shit.
They're taking the north front scaffolding.
Bro, what is this?
We're not going to be able to hold.
Yeah, Johnson, you taking note. This is how you do it.
We're gaining access into the Capitol.
Your bicycles and your, rosary beads.
We have got to finish the proceedings, or else they're going to have the complete victory.
Look at all these idiots with their phones.
Yeah, doxing themselves. Doxing the fuck out of themselves.
there has to be some way we can maintain the sense that people have that
Oh, I
there's
can't stand that woman.
some security or some confidence.
Nancy Pelosi, tell us about how your campaign ran fucking smear ads against a friend of mine.
Did we go back?
Yeah.
Shahid Buttar.
Tell us how much insider trading you and your husband did.
Apparently everybody on the floor.
Why do you send the corporate Democrats after progressive candidates?
Well, I'm trying to get more information. They're putting on their tear gas masks.
Because she needs to keep her monies.
We need an area for the House members. They're all walking over now through the tunnels.
We see you.
Oh, that's homegirl that got popped, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to call up the effing Secretary of DOD. We have some senators who are still in their hideaways. They need massive personnel now. Can you get the Maryland National Guard to come too?
I have something to say, Mr. Secretary. Well, I'm going to call the.
Oh, he got that
mayor of
flip
Washington,
razor?
D.C. right now and see what.
Oh, I see you, Schumer.
Outreach he has to other police departments, as Senator Leader Hoyer has mentioned. Hi, Governor. This is Nancy. Governor, I don't know if you have been approached about the Virginia National Guard. Mr. Hoyer was speaking to Governor Hogan, but I still think you probably need the okay of the federal government in order to come into another jurisdiction.
I think this is about when I started seeing the coverage.
Thank you.
When I was like on my
Just
smoke break
breaking
at work.
windows are doing all kinds of, it's really that they said somebody was shot. It's just horrendous, and all at the instigation of the President of the United States.
Pelosi is just a
Okay,
reanimated
thank you,
corpse.
Governor. I appreciate what you're doing, and if you don't mind, I'd like to stay in touch. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Virginia Guard has been called in.
Yeah, and I've just talked to
Take my
Governor
phone.
Northam, and what he said is they sent 200 state police and a unit of the National Guard. They're breaking windows and going in, obviously ransacking our offices and all the rest of that. That's nothing. The concern we have about personal harm, personal safety, is it just transcends everything. But the fact is, on any given day, they're breaking the law in many different ways. And quite frankly, much of it at the instigation of the President of the United States.
Oh, Nancy Pelosi set this all up to frame Trump.
At least,
That's all Antifa and Black Lives Matter.
To tell them to leave the Capitol, Mr. Attorney General, in your law enforcement responsibility. A public statement, they should all leave.
Look at this.
This cannot be just we're waiting for so-and-so. We
The
need them there
fucking
now,
Capitol,
whatever you
bro.
got.
You have, you also have troops, this is Steny Hoyer, troops.
Okay, so we have a little
Fort
bit of time
McNair,
to make that decision.
Andrews Air Force Base.
All right.
Other military bases.
Thank you.
We
Thanks,
need
Paul. Bye.
active duty National Guard.
How soon in the future can you have the place evacuated, pulled, cleaned out?
I like the fact they've got. It's like a scene from The Office.
Yeah.
Or just pretend for a moment.
Just happened to have a roaming camera just
or the
knocking
White
about.
House, or some other entity that was under siege. And let me say, you can logistically get people there as you make the plan.
Oh, you know they popped you, black guy. They got your ass first.
I don't want to know what that is
We're
on
trying
that
to figure
screen.
out how we can get
Oh,
this
it's
job
broke.
done today. We talked to Mitch about it earlier. He's not in the room right now, but
Oh,
he
hang
was
on.
with us
That's not
earlier,
covering your nose, love.
and said
Sort
we
it out.
want to expedite this, and hopefully they could confine it to just one complaint, Arizona.
I mean, if it
and then
if
we
it means
can
I get to get out of here,
then
I'll take
just move
COVID.
forward with the rest of this
I'm
case.
going to fucking tweet C-SPAN for that
Overriding
audio.
wish
This
is
is
to do
terrible.
it at the Capitol. What we are being told very directly is
well, they should have hired
it's
me.
gonna take days for the Capitol to be okay again. we've got
He's over here at the Bitten podcast. Audio
House floor with
is always of the highest
defecation
quality.
and all that kind of thing as well. I don't think that that's hard to clean up, but I do think it is more from a security standpoint of making sure that everybody is out of the building, and how long will that take? I just got off with the Vice President.
And I got off with the Vice President-elect, so I'm telling you.
Okay. But
why are you talking over her, bitch? Shut up.
Because he said he had the impression from Mitch that Mitch wants to get everybody back to do it there.
Yes.
I said, well, we're getting a counterpoint that is, we could take time to clean up the poo-poo that they're making all over the, literally and figuratively in the Capitol, and that
Come on, man.
it may take days to get back.
And I'm at the Capitol building. I'm literally standing with the chief of police of the U.S. Capitol Police. He just informed me what you will hear through official channels. Paul Irving, your sergeant at arms, will inform you that their best information is that they believe that the House and the Senate will be able to reconvene in roughly an hour.
Good news.
That'll be all right. Don't worry about him.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Good news.
Yeah, we got rid of him. They pooed everywhere.
In this
smeared
video,
up the
you
walls.
just saw Senator Chuck
like
Schumer
someone had
urging
a
Acting
pack
Attorney
of stray
General
dogs
Jeff
in
Rosen
here.
to get President Trump to call off the rioters. Of course, Acting AG Rosen did take action to defend the government, as did many other officials, but congressional leadership recognized on a bipartisan basis that President Trump was the only person who could get the mob to end its violent siege of the Congress, leave the Capitol, and go home. Here's Senator McConnell speaking after January 6th about how President Trump abandoned his duties and failed to do his job.
It was obvious.
Rawr.
President Trump could end
Oh,
this.
God.
He was the only
Old
one
man turtle.
who could. Former aides publicly begged him to do so. Loyal allies frantically called the administration.
This is what happens when you leave a human in the
President did not
microwave
act
for too
swiftly.
long.
He did not
Give
do
him
his
You're
job.
supposed to put a wet paper
He
towel
didn't
over him.
take steps so federal law could be faithfully
don't.
executed and order restored.
Just don't feed him after midnight. It'll be okay.
No.
Don't get him wet.
In the midst
Still
of this
multiply.
violent chaos, Kevin McCarthy implored Donald Trump to tell his supporters in the mob to leave the Capitol. And when that didn't work, McCarthy called Trump's adult children to try to get them to intercede with Trump to call off the insurrectionary violence. In our prior hearings, we showed you a description of what McCarthy told Republican Congresswoman Jamie Herrera Butler about his conversation with Trump during the violence. Another witness, Mick Mulvaney, President Trump's former chief of staff, has also come forward and corroborated her shocking account.
You know, I asked Kevin McCarthy, who's the Republican leader, about this, and he said he called Donald Trump. He finally got through to Donald Trump, and he said, "You have got to get on TV. You've got to get on Twitter. You've got to call these people off." You know what the president said to him? This is as it's happening. He said, "Well, Kevin, these aren't my people. You know, these are Antifa." And Kevin said, "No, they're your people. They literally just came through my office windows, and my staff are running for cover. I mean, they're running for their lives. You need to call them off." And the president's response to Kevin, to me, was chilling. He said, "Well, Kevin, I guess they're just more upset about the election, theft than you are." And that's, you've seen widespread reports of Kevin McCarthy and the president having basically a swearing conversation. That's when the swearing commenced, because the president was basically saying, "Nah, I'm okay with this."
I had a conversation at some point in the day or week after the riot with Kevin McCarthy. Yeah, it was very similar to what Jamie had. The conversation she had retold about how he called and asked the president to get them to stop, and the president told him something along the lines of, "Kevin, maybe these people are just more angry about this than you are, maybe more upset." I had the conversation similar to that with Kevin in the day to week after the riot.
And we know how Kevin McCarthy described President Trump's conduct both in public and in private.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding. These facts require immediate action from President Trump. Accept his share of responsibility, quell the brewing unrest, and ensure President-elect
Fuck
Biden
Kevin McCarthy.
is able to successfully
That's all I have to say.
begin his term. But let me be very clear to all of you, and I've been very clear to the president. He bears responsibilities for his words and actions. No ifs, ands, or buts. I asked him personally today, does he hold responsibility for what happened? Does he feel bad about what happened? He told me he does have some responsibility for what happened. And he needs to acknowledge that.
2:24 p.m., knowing the deadly riot was now bearing down on his own vice president, President Trump composed and sent a tweet attacking Vice President Pence, accusing him of cowardice for not unilaterally rejecting Electoral College votes for Joe Pence, and provoked them to even greater violence. This deliberate decision to further enrage the mob against
Yet another
Vice
reason
President
to get rid of
Pence
the Electoral
cannot
College.
be justified by anything that President Trump might have thought about the election. The tweet came precisely at the time Pence's Secret Service detail was most seriously concerned for the vice president's physical safety. We've obtained new documents from the Secret Service, real-time chats that underscore the threat they knew the vice president would be facing because of the president's escalating incitement of the mob.
I have a question for you Americans.
7.
After Trump's tweet, one agent in the Secret Service
What's more likely? Repeal of the Second Amendment or repeal of the Electoral College?
Both impossible. Next question.
Another agent reported the
Okay, there you go.
impact of Trump's anti-Pence
Brenna?
tweet on his followers. POTUS said he
Repealing?
over 24,000
I would say you can't repeal either of them very easily. You can, it's possible, but it would be very, very difficult.
But which
You
ones are more
can
likely?
you can alter, you can add stipulations to both of them. Like we could reduce the impact or the necessity of the Electoral College more than we can for any of the Second Amendment. And I think the Second Amendment is far more broadly accepted than the Electoral College.
Which came first?
Second Amendment.
You were also seeing content on the platform at the time.
I think there were, I don't know. It's a good question.
I mean, they didn't even have like proper colony governments. So I would say Second Amendment.
And after, in response to this tweet too, because I think
I mean, they weren't voting using the Electoral College like the first joint.
who were already constructing gallows, who were already
Okay, I'll leave that one with you.
wanting to execute someone and
You know your
looking
history
for
better than
someone
I
to
do.
be killed. Now the individual was called upon.
Shitty fucking British school system didn't even teach you all of the
You know,
nuances
you
of
were
our
part
fucking-
of our history, right?
That should be part of
No,
British
we-
history.
oh,
No, that's the punishment for all
Here's
of
a
you,
small
descendants. You have to learn the history of all of the fucking countries that Britain fucking
Yeah.
stuck its fucking wanker,
No,
schlag,
we-
crusty
basi-
fingers in.
We're basically doing an absentee father thing on you. We created each other and we walked away.
Went out for a cup of tea and never came back.
Yeah, we had a bit of a bust up in Boston, but then fuck this.
Between 2:30 and 2:35, within 10 minutes of President Trump's tweet, thousands of rioters overran the line that the Metropolitan Police
Hold the
Force's Civil
line.
Disturbance Unit was holding on the west
Love
side
is
of the
a
Capitol.
Mikey, that
It's
geezer
the first
over his
time
shoulder
in the
does
history
look
of the
well
Metropolitan
creepy.
Police
I'm
Department
telling you.
that a security line like that had ever been broken.
He's got
President
like
Trump's
cyborg
conduct that
death
day
man
was
in
so
his eyes.
shameful and so outrageous that it prompted numerous
Very
members of
furrowed
the White
brow.
House staff and other Trump appointees to resign. In prior hearings, you've heard Deputy National
I will
Security
kill
Advisor
you until
Matt
you die.
Pottinger and Deputy White House Press Secretary Sarah Matthews explain why they felt compelled to resign on that day. Since then, we've spoken to more high-ranking
Wayne wants to come
officials,
to America,
like President
get a
Trump's
gun and
envoy
vote
to
in
Northern
all the
Ireland
elections.
and former Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, and Transportation
Went out for a cup
Secretary
of
Elaine
tea
Chao,
and never came back.
who
If
resigned
Bruce
after the
Springsteen
6th in
was from
protest
Leeds.
of Trump's misconduct and to dissociate themselves from his role in the violence. Take a listen to what they had to say.
Yeah, take a listen, everybody.
I was stunned by violence and was stunned by the president's apparent indifference to the violence. And now is the time for the president to be presidential. I thought he failed at doing it. I thought he failed at a critical time to be the sort of leader that the nation needed.
I think the events at the Capitol,
Is this all the
however
people
they
who
occurred,
resigned?
were shocking. And it was something that, as I mentioned in my statement, that I could not put aside. And at a particular point, the events were such that it was impossible for me to continue, given my personal values and my philosophy. I came as an immigrant to this country. I believe in this country. I believe in a peaceful transfer of power. I believe in democracy.
He was a sucker.
It was a decision that I made on my own.
When security assistance began to arrive at the Capitol and the tide turned against the insurrection, President Trump finally gave his painfully belated instruction at 4:17 p.m. So after multiple hours of rioting and more than 100 serious injuries suffered by our law enforcement officers, the crowd finally began to disperse. Listen carefully to what they said as they decided to leave the Capitol.
Here delivering the president's message. Donald Trump has asked everybody to go home. That's order.
He says go home. He says go home.
You're special. He also said you're special.
Finally, at 6:01, President Trump tweeted again, not
You're
to condemn
special.
the mass violence in any way, but rather to excuse and glorify it. Significantly, he made it clear that he considered the violence perfectly foreseeable and predictable. Check it out. These are the things and
it
events
out.
that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so
Look at the
unceremoniously,
Twitter
viciously
disclaimer.
stripped away from great patriots
Oh my
who have been
God.
badly, unfairly treated for so long. These are the things that happen, he said, giving the whole game away. Trump was telling us that the vice president, the Congress, and all the injured and wounded cops, some of whom are with us today, got what was coming to us. According to Trump, January 6th should not be a day that lives in shame and infamy in our history, but rather in glory. Remember this day forever, he wrote proudly, as if he were talking about D-Day or the Battle of Yorktown. Trump did nothing to stop the deadly
Ooh, that's a
violence
big boy.
for obvious reasons.
Even
He
when
thought
he
it was
sit
all
down, he big.
justified, he incited it, and he supported it.
Would it have been possible at any moment for the president to walk down to the podium in the briefing room and talk to the nation at any time between when you first gave him that advice?
Got this audio.
In 417 when the video statement. Would that have been possible?
Would it have been possible? Yes.
If the president had wanted to make a statement,
You got the Tom
and
Morello
address
wah
the
pedal on that
American
bitch.
people, he could have been on camera almost instantly. And conversely, the White House press corps has offices that are located directly behind the briefing room. And so if he had wanted to make an address from the Oval Office, we could have assembled the White House press corps probably in a matter of minutes to get them into the Oval for him to do an on-camera address.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Mr. Chairman,
He didn't want to face anything.
nothing in law or fact could justify the
He did
president's
his little
failure to act.
video, and then he said, "You are very special. Now go home."
assume you also would agree the president
I love you.
has a particular
Exactly.
obligation to take care that the
It
law
was a love
be
letter.
faithfully executed.
Call me.
Hugs and kisses.
See you on True Social, baby.
Woo!
Mr. Chairman, in numerous places, our Constitution strongly
Actually, I think Parler
opposes
was the
insurrection
big
and
one.
rebellion.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Still
Article
at
1
that
gives
time.
Congress the power to call
Until that
for
shut
the
down.
militia to suppress insurrections. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment disqualified from holding
I'll see
federal and
myself
state
out.
office anyone who has sworn an
Thanks
oath
for
to
playing.
defend the Constitution or betrays it by engaging in insurrection or rebellion. It was President Lincoln
the damn
at
buttons
the start of
were
the
taken
Civil
away
War in
from you.
1861 who
No.
best explained why
buttons.
democracy
They define me.
rejects insurrection. Insurrection, he said,
They're all I
is
have.
a war upon the first principle of popular
You already
government,
stole my wife.
the rights of the people.
You're damn right.
American democracy belongs to all the American people, not to a single man. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
I love the little bonnets on all the
Gentleman
microphones.
yields back.
I want one.
During
It
this
look like they going to
committee's
sleep.
First hearing in July of
It's like
last
a shower
year,
cap.
They
our
finna, that's they
witnesses were
sleep
4
pretty
police
bonnet.
officers
Uh-huh.
who helped
That's the-
repel the
that's to
riots
keep the curls.
of January
Mhm.
6th. We asked them what they hoped to see the committee accomplish over the course of our investigation.
Why are we looking at these
Officer
very
Gunnell
obviously
wanted to know
bored
why
people?
the rioters were
The
made
geezer who's
to
hunched
believe
over,
that the election process
he looks like
was
he's
rigged.
waiting for his turn in
Officer
court.
Fanone asked us to look into the actions and activities
You look
that
like Derek
resulted
Jeter.
in the day's events.
It's like, can we get this
Officer
done?
Hodges was concerned about whether anyone in power had a role.
You come put a
Obviously,
suit on.
they're
Dunn
fucking
put
nutting.
it simply, get to the bottom of what happened. We've worked for more than a year to get those answers. We've conducted more than 1,000 interviews and depositions.
God damn.
We received and reviewed hundreds of thousands of pages of documents. Thanks to the tireless work of our members and investigators, we have left no doubt, none, that Donald Trump led an effort to upend American democracy that directly resulted in the violence of January 6th. He tried to take away the voice of the American people.
Ladies and
choosing
gentlemen,
their president
we
and
got him.
replace the will of the voters with his will to remain in power. He is the one person at the center of the story of what happened on January 6th.
Nerd.
So we want to hear from him. The committee needs to do everything in our power to tell the most complete story possible and provide recommendations to help ensure nothing like January 6th ever happens again. We need to be fair and thorough and gain a full context for the evidence we've obtained. But the need for this committee to hear from Donald Trump goes beyond our fact-finding. This is a question about accountability to the American people. He must be accountable. He is required to answer for his actions. He's required to answer to those police officers who put their lives and bodies on the line to defend our democracy. He's required to answer to those millions of Americans whose votes he wanted to throw out as part of his scheme to remain in power.
It's the Southern
And
drawl.
whatever
That's
is
what it
underway
is.
to ensure this
Yeah, I was gonna say if he
under law,
reads the same
this
speed
committee
as he
will demand
talks,
a
that's why
full
it took him a
accounting
year.
to every
Yep.
American person of the events of January 6th. So it is our obligation to seek Donald Trump's testimony. There's precedent in American history for Congress to compel
Is
the
it?
testimony of a president.
Everyone get ready.
There's also precedent for presidents to provide testimony and documentary evidence to congressional investigators. We also recognize that a subpoena to a former president is a serious and extraordinary action. That's why we want to take this
Do it.
step in full view of the American people, especially because the subject matter at issue is so important to the American people, and the stakes are so high for our future and
Highest
our
stakes.
democracy.
Pepper steaks.
And so, I recognize the
Well done,
Vice Chair,
Stokes.
Ms. Cheney of Wyoming, to offer a motion.
Oh.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to today's notice, I
Get it,
send to
girl.
the desk a committee resolution and ask for its immediate consideration.
The clerk will report the resolution.
Fucking tons. Say the word.
Resolved.
Indict. Say
The
it.
chairman be
and is hereby
Just
directed
reach
to
out.
subpoena Donald J. Trump
Bring it
for
in.
documents and testimony
Oh.
in connection with the January 6th attack on the United States
There you
Capitol
go.
pursuant to Section 5C4 of House Resolution 503
That'll
and
fucking
Clause
learn ya.
2M
Yeah.
of Rule 11 of the Rules of the House of Representatives.
The young woman from Wyoming is recognized on her resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, our committee now has sufficient information to answer many of the critical questions posed by Congress at the outset. We have sufficient information to consider criminal referrals for multiple individuals and to recommend a range of legislative proposals to guard against another January 6th. But a key task remains. We must seek the testimony under oath of January 6th central player. More than 30 witnesses in our investigation have invoked their Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. And several of those did so specifically in response to questions about their dealings with Donald Trump directly. Here are a few examples. This is Roger Stone with Oath Keepers at the Willard Hotel on the morning of January 6th. And here is Mr. Stone.
Good thing Oath Keepers is right on the fucking shirt.
Just make sure you know this is an Oath Keeper.
Did you speak to President Trump on his private cell phone on either January 5th or January 6th?
Once again, on advice of counsel, I will assert my Fifth Amendment right to respectfully decline to answer your question.
This
So
is
yes.
General Michael
Bro, that's
Flynn
you.
walking with Oath Keepers on December 12th, 2020.
Oh.
And here is General Flynn's testimony before our committee.
Did you, General Flynn, talk to President Trump at any point
Oh?
on January 6, 2021?
The 5th.
Yes.
Here is John Eastman, fraudulently instructing tens of thousands of angry
Look at him.
protesters
This shit
that
Tom
the vice
Baker.
president could change the election outcome
Don't
on
take
January
that
6th.
out of your mouth.
Later on this same day, Dr. Eastman acknowledged in writing
Rudy.
that Donald Trump knew what
Hey,
he was
Rudy.
attempting was illegal.
Rudy.
Rudy.
Is John Eastman
Rudy's got that
testifying
warm
before
fart look on his face.
Yeah.
Did President Trump authorize you to discuss publicly your January 4th, 2021 conversation with him?
Fifth.
So is it your position that you can discuss in the media direct conversations you had with the President of the United States, but you will not discuss those same conversations with this committee?
Fifth.
Here is Jeff Clark, who conspired with Donald
Jesus.
Trump to corrupt the Department of Justice.
It's not
President
Jesus.
Trump wanted to appoint
Jesus
Jeff
has more
Clark
hair.
as acting Attorney General. And as you can see in this call log we obtained from the National Archives, he did so.
Oops.
And here is Mr. Clark testifying before our committee.
Mr. Clark, when did you
Look,
first talk
he ain't
directly
there.
with President
Oh,
Trump?
that guy.
Fifth.
Mr. Clark, did you discuss with President Trump allegations of fraud in the 2020 election?
Fifth.
Other witnesses have also gone to enormous lengths to avoid testifying about their dealings with Donald Trump. Steve Bannon has been tried and convicted by a jury of his peers for contempt of Congress. He is scheduled to be sentenced for this crime later this month. Criminal proceedings regarding Peter Navarro continue. And Mark Meadows, Donald Trump's former chief of staff, has refused to testify based upon executive privilege. The committee's litigation
But it's
with
right
him
outside your door.
continues. Mr. Chairman, at some point, the Department of Justice may well unearth
Oh, come on, Wayne.
the facts that these and other witnesses are currently
Sorry, what?
concealing. But our duty today is to our
She's
country
talking about testifying.
and our
I'm like,
children
but it's right outside your
and
door.
our Constitution. We are obligated
Yeah,
to
thank
seek
you.
answers directly from the
Acknowledge me,
man
damn it.
who set this all in motion. And
Love
every
me.
American is entitled to those answers.
Acknowledge
So we
me.
can act
What about me?
now
What about
to
Raven?
protect our republic. So this afternoon, I am offering this resolution that the committee direct the chairman to issue a subpoena for relevant documents and testimony under oath from Donald John Trump in connection with the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I
Hooga,
yield
chaka, hooga, hooga, hooga.
Young lady
chaka.
yields back. If there's no further debate, the question is on agreeing to the resolution. Those
Aye.
in favor will say aye.
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 Those
Aye.
opposed is no.
Nay.
In the opinion of the chair, the
Don't say it.
ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, I request a
Yeah.
recorded vote.
You didn't hear me.
A recorded vote is requested. The clerk
That's
will
right.
call the
Put your
roll.
name on it.
Ms. Cheney?
Aye.
Ms. Cheney, aye. Ms. Lofgren?
Aye.
Ms. Lofgren, aye. Mr. Schiff?
Aye.
Mr. Schiff, aye.
Aye,
Mr. Aguilar?
matey.
Aye. Mr. Aguilar, aye. Mrs. Murphy?
Aye.
Hey.
Mrs. Murphy, aye. Mr. Raskin?
Aye.
Mr. Raskin, aye. Mrs. Luria?
Aye.
Mrs. Luria, aye. Mr. Kinzinger?
Kinzinger, aye.
Mr. Kinzinger, aye.
You had to be different.
Mr. Chairman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Republicans.
aye.
The clerk will report the vote.
How many of
Chairman,
these
on
on
this
the
vote,
committee
there are
are
9 ayes, 0
Republicans?
noes.
3 or 4.
The resolution
Two.
is agreed to.
Just 2?
Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Cheney
The
and
chair
Kinzinger.
requests that those in the
Everyone else
hearing
are
room
Democrats.
remain seated until the Capitol Police have escorted members from the room. Without objection, the committee stands adjourned.
Boom.
All right.
Bum, 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 bum. Level up.
Wow.
What a great day for democracy, am I right?
Well, this is just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
There were more awesome things that happened just recently in the news.
No. That's not. What else would happen?
So do you know?
The Muffin
Do you
Man?
remember?
Do you
What was it?
remember?
What, like 10 years ago, when little kids were shot?
Uh,
No, that doesn't happen over here.
yes.
Okay. Yes. So you know, like the little preschool or elementary school got shot up. Well, you know who? You remember that guy who would perpetuate lies and profited off of it?
I don't
Ye-
know what you
kind
could be
of-
talking about.
He's kind of roundish faced.
And so is that Super Male Vitality X hard on.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Well, guess what he has to do?
Hold on, I got you.
Everybody?
Hold on, fam. I got you. Say less.
You got to. Got
Got
to.
you. I'll do this one. Nope, not that one.
Excellent.
This one. There we go.
And we are following some breaking news right now. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones has been ordered by a Connecticut jury to pay $965 million to the people who...
Oh.
How much?
Let's run it back.
And we are following some breaking news right now. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones has been ordered by a Connecticut jury to pay $965 million to the
them's the breaks.
people who suffered from his false claim that the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting was a hoax. The verdict is the second big judgment against the InfoWars host for claiming the massacre was staged. Jones now believes the shooting was real, but he says he had a right to publicly question whether it happened. A Texas jury in August ordered Jones to pay $50 million
ow.
to the parents of another slain child.
That hurt.
Can I just ask?
hurt.
What year do you think that he used to be able to do the top button up of that shirt?
What year is it today?
2020. Sorry, 2020. Sorry.
COVID got us
Wow,
all.
okay,
COVID
wait.
got us.
Roll it back. Let's try that again.
Let's do another take. Everybody reset back to 1.
2022.
All right,
Oh,
positions,
God.
everyone.
Speed.
Right, and scene.
Yikes, Wayne. I thought that was a real layup. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was gonna fucking dismantle everything.
2 plus 2 is 5. 2 plus 2 is 5.
1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. Quick maths.
Hang on
I
a
don't
minute.
know.
You got over 10. I'm going to take my shoes and socks off.
Nope, can't do that.
You have to do ears, nose, and teeth next.
Counting bears.
Yeah.
I need counting bears. Oh.
Well, that
Alrighty.
sucks to suck.
Mhm.
So this is what lies get you. So that's a mass shooting that got some justice.
Yeah.
Like what other mass shooting got some justice recently?
The Parkland piece of fucking shit scumbag. They're giving him life in prison.
Life.
The jury has elected to not go with the death penalty and give him life in prison. Which probably won't be a very long or enjoyable life.
No.
Mm.
But yeah, the Parkland victims got justice as well. So apparently some things are actually happening in this country.
Yeah.
Shocking.
It's quite a system adjustment that's going on because let's face it, the last 8 years or so have been a bit traumatic for the states when it comes to mass shootings, terrible leadership, and miscarriages of justice. So this seems to be kind of a rebalancing of, especially with what's just been announced. It seems to be a rebalancing of what should have been in the first place.
Well,
Do you think that it might be a little bit more of the media or social media just bringing more of this information to life, putting pressure on the justice system to actually function? Because this might be something that we are seeing more and more. We're seeing more activism towards justice.
Yeah.
Especially like if you think about Parkland, that was like the opposition to the gun violence was basically led by the kids,
right?
Because they were over it. So you got the kids involved, and then you see the Sandy Hook, and how the parents of those slain kids were getting harassed, calling the deaths fake, the
kids never
crisis
existed.
actors, right? Kids never existed. They were being paid.
Mhm.
It was, it was to be, they did it for anti-guns kind of thing. And then Alex Jones just perpetuated it. And for
Yeah.
years and years and years, they've been suing him, trying to get him to stop saying all these dumb, stupid shit that is causing their lives grief. And then they finally get compensation. At least getting Alex Jones to say something. Like, it was weird that he's like, I believe it's real. I just had a right to question it. I'm like, no, you were told to say that.
Right.
Because you were perpetuating lies for your own advancement. So.
And you're
I think
saying that
been...
that's a bad thing. I shouldn't just make shit up, and possibly get people assaulted and threatened, and have them change their numbers, move house.
Gays committed suicide.
Yeah.
Yep. So maybe this may not change the entire justice system, but the more that we see how, the bad things aren't being treated like bad things, I think we can see a little bit more justice being served. And it may take a while, but I think there is a little bit of progress. So, I'm grateful that the justice system at least acknowledged these two painful parts of our history that we're never going to be able to erase.
And I think that it's a good sign, and it sends out a flare to the other types of people that are in this same ilk, that you can't just be spreading this kind of propaganda, because your words do have gravitas and influence. So this whole talk of influencers in itself should now come into a different frame, because if someone says they do something on your behalf because you said it on the internets, then you can now be liable. Case in point, Alex Jones, and near enough £1 billion worth of money coming out of his account to go to the victims of people that he propagated a lie against.
He tried to. He
destroyed them.
He tried to file for bankruptcy before the court hearing, and the judge was like, "No, we'll do the court hearing first, and then you can try to fucking file for bankruptcy." Nice try, homie.
Yeah. Well done, mate.
Stashing the money.
So hopefully this will, as I say, kind of dissuade people from going down that line, because chasing clicks and revenue on the sensationalist, non kind of specific arguments of like, oh, this could have happened, but we think this may have happened also. And if you want to go down that route, there are certain people that we spoke about pre-show, certain Canadians that are doing that and flirting with that. And if this is anything to them that says maybe you shouldn't do that, then that's a good thing.
Sure.
And I feel that that should be on both sides, because you do get people on the left that do sensationalize certain things. So I think we all need to sort of wind our necks in and collectively just go, okay, before we
All right, he said it. Everybody drink.
Right.
Oh. Too much coffee for me. Time to switch to decaf, am I right? Back to you, Wayne.
Yeah, so maybe we should be a bit more critical with our broadcasting and be a bit more careful with our broadcasting. Because it doesn't matter whether you're left or right. If you are spouting nonsense, if you're chatting shit, you get banged. All right? That's it. Chat shit, get banged.
Well, I think we also have to realize that there are people whose their jobs are opinion, and they bring it forward as fact. But you cannot have it both ways. You can't say, well, you can't after the fact say, oh, this was actually my opinion. Like, this is opinion. This has no basis in the fact. And I think Alex Jones is definitely one of those people who have just enriched themselves under the guise of news and truth, but in reality, it's opinion and sensationalism, as you say.
Yep.
And there are
fear-mongering.
people who are, and people like Tucker Carlson are these types of people who, out of one side of their mouth, they're saying, oh yeah, I've got the news, I know the facts, I'm doing this because I need to inform you. And then the other side of the mouth, he's like, well, this is actually just my opinion, so that I don't have to be liable for perpetuating lies.
Mm-hmm.
And we're now seeing with this Alex Jones thing that it actually is dangerous to perpetuate lies, regardless of if it's your opinion or the fact or what you believe is the fact.
100%.
But these are perpetuating lies for your own financial gain.
Yeah, it's fear porn. That's all it is. It's fear porn. And he's seen that it's given him the platform that he's got. It's perpetuated the platform that he's got and made it even bigger. So he can now go. I mean, I think I spoke to you, Mikey, about this before. He did a video where he was taking one of his supplements that he punts, and he was like, "Look at me before, look at me after."
Sorry.
They literally changed the lighting.
Yeah, it's like he literally like pushed it out as hard as he could in the first one, and then he just started.
Yeah.
And then they moved the lights real quick, and then snapped it.
Yeah, just change the lights, and it's like, yeah, now you can look like me. I'm like, all right, mate. Yeah.
Does this pill have somebody bring the lights over?
Exactly. I don't need to look like a bowling ball, mate. You're all right.
This is peak. This is the peak male form.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm the alpha male.
In the wilderness.
But even like he's I don't know if you've seen any of his like infomercials that he does for his products.
Absolutely not.
Where, oh, it's comical that people even fall for it because it's like back in the day, men were men.
Boom,
That
boom,
kind
boom,
of
ba, 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 boom, boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, boom, ba, 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 boom, boom. Some Nordic drum music coming in.
Yeah,
Dum,
it's just
ba, ba, ba,
oh,
dum,
it's
boom,
it's
ba, boom.
it's just hilarious. Look what you can do with this supplement.
You
Do
could
a lot more
really,
poos.
you could
Just
un,
a lot more poos.
you could unlock your
And
inner
then
alpha male.
I love at the bottom of all of his adverts. Not approved by the FDA.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
I'll have
Nobody
two,
knows. It's a
goddammit.
mystery.
It's a conspiracy against my amazing product.
It's
Can we do a proper intro to the show?
You can do a proper intro to the show. Yes,
Because I need to show this off.
you need to do it.
I couldn't.
Of course he didn't.
That's how much Wayne loves you, Mikey.
It's literally
All
48
that hard work.
48
Yeah, it's-
fucking seconds. Having a ton. 48
actually-
fucking
it's-
seconds.
Wayne,
I've been
it's
busy
just
sa-
our
been
our
busy saving the
music.
planet.
Busy saving the planet.
Yeah, you're welcome.
One wall hole at a time.
Now, Brenda, would you say, in your expert opinion, that Wayne looked up dad jokes for more or less than 48 seconds?
More.
Okay.
More.
That is your expert testimony.
But I believe that he's been looking them up for years. So
Does
he
the good
knows
lady?
the websites. He
Does
knows
the good,
where to go.
does the
He
good
knows
lady
the
yield her
dark
time?
web of dad
Does the good lady yield her time?
I am talking.
Reclaiming my time. TT Maxine was reclaiming that shit. Dexter. All right, come on, Dexter. You want to be on camera? You get one cameo and you're out of here, kid. And he walks away. All right, get out of here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the bin. I'm Mikey. That's Brenna. That's Wayne. Shartan
Hello.
is working on 4G. I mean, the globalists finally got him.
That's what socialism
there it
is,
is.
by the way.
There he is. There he is. There's the good.
By the way, we are part of the Anti-Growth Coalition, according to our Prime Minister, Liz Truss.
Dexty.
Hi, Dexter.
Anyone who has a podcast is good at Twitter
Ow!
and speaks
Why?
out.
Why?
You're part of the Anti-Growth Coalition in the UK.
So where's our shirts?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
But
Aren't we a part of this? Aren't we a global?
Oh no. I'm the British wing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not important enough for you.
We don't get no shirts.
We're not a part of this.
Nope.
It's
Wayne's
we
show.
are a collection.
It's Wayne's show. We all know it.
Yeah. Okay.
We all know it.
Wayne,
No,
take us away.
This is a democratic process. Since the Britain left the EU, there's all kinds of red tape, you know.
Oh, look who came crawling back.
Give it a minute.
So how far are you guys willing to go to take this show to the next level is what I have to ask you.
Oh, Jesus. Hang on.
Get your spanner,
Not
Wayne.
that
You're
far.
gonna need it. Why?
Why
Oh,
don't you get
because
my
I
forceps
changed
out?
I changed websites. That's why it's all angry at me. Don't be angry. Go to the.
It's all right.
Just-
We're doing live production. It's fine.
Why you
Brenna, me
betraying
and
me?
you should talk amongst ourselves. How are you getting on, my friend?
I've been betrayed.
Where's my shirt?
Yeah.
Huh?
There you go.
I want your anti-growth coalition shirt.
Thought you had a friend.
Okay. I'll get one mailed out to you. With
Okay,
your
there we
good
go.
podcast merch.
There we go. It wouldn't recognize the window, but
right.
this is from TwitchCon. These are two young ladies that are streamers, and they are battling for, I don't know, streamer supremacy atop these pillars in a foam pit. This girl is the winner, clearly up here, and she has knocked off her opponent with a biffle, and now she's going to celebrate.
Big sip and some sips of her own. You good? Great victory there.
I'm not sure if you landed well.
A little bit about this foam pit. That is 2 feet of foam on concrete.
Oh.
You can't do that.
Traditionally,
ouch.
gymnasts and acrobats and all the
It's
like.
about 6 foot. It's about 6
Yeah,
foot.
it's 4 to 6 feet minimum, and then that's on top of like a trampoline-like surface, and then there's a
Foamy
foam,
little
and then
squish thing.
there's a foam mattress underneath the trampoline to really soak up all of your kinetic energy and make sure that you don't do this. This young lady broke her back in 2 places.
Wow.
Down by the pitfall. Medic! No, she's fine. Now she lives in the pit now, kind of thing.
See, that's the danger of like kind of rolling and yes-anding a bit. Sometimes people actually get hurt. It's like, oh, she lives in the pit now. Yeah.
So we take the girls to our local sporting village where they do have these big pits. Now Sienna will dive into them, do aerials and land it. Florence will just sit in there and eat them massive chips. just sit there.
Just
Shut.
having it's like this is so comfortable.
There is no nutritional value to that phone.
Yeah. Damn it.
She's like, shut up, daddy. Shut up, daddy. I'm all right.
You know,
I'll take some juicy over here.
yeah. You got just toss a juice box in here. I'll find it.
I got it. Don't worry.
Dad, apple juice.
No. But speaking of people's children, let's go here.
Lines in this multicultural city.
Nuri Martinez, a rising star in LA politics, potentially faces a career in ruins. The first Latina chosen to lead the Los Angeles City Council caught on tape making racist and offensive comments during a redistricting meeting with 3 Latino Democrats.
It's not us. It's the white members on this council that will motherfucker you in a heartbeat.
Ooh, it gets better.
That tape, obtained by the LA Times, captured Martinez talking to local labor leader Ron Herrera and fellow council members Gil Cedillo and Kevin De Leon. At one point, Martinez talks about the black child of Mike Bonin, a white council member, in Spanish calling the boy a little monkey.
There's nothing you can do to control him.
Audio again, Mikey. This is not. This has to be us. I'm getting this now through all of C-SPAN and this now.
So if it's only happening during the clips, how is it us?
Well, you're playing it out.
It's their shitty audio, Wayne. It's not. There's nothing I can do to fix that.
Right, Brenna, are you getting a fuzzy as well?
Yeah.
It's not like a Yeti microphone recording. It's like whatever like tabletop recording device that they have for these like council meetings. So it sucks. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I can't fix it. When I could, but they'd have to pay me. I'm not doing it for free.
You can do to control him. Parece changuito.
I'll Parece Conchita. Let me
Then
look it
she
up.
adds, describing the boy allegedly misbehaving at an MLK parade.
Treated him like a little white kid, which I was like, this kid needs a beat down. Like, let me take him around the corner and then I'll bring him back.
Councilman Bonin and
Now, Wayne, how would you react to something like that?
Well, if someone said they're going to take my kid around the corner and beat him down.
And that your kid's running around on this parade float too much like a little monkey.
Can you cue up the Jazzy Jeff, please?
On it.
That's how I would react.
Just how about you, Lady Brenna? If someone said that about the little people in your life, that they're just little monkeys, especially the little black kids in your life, just they're little monkeys, and they just need to be taken out back and beaten.
Oh, that's horrendous, is what I have to say about that. That's nasty.
He's a nasty
Nobody
guy.
should. You know what? Nobody should say that about children in general.
Right.
Let alone any little black kids or Hispanic kids. It's just rude and totally racist. And that's not even like we're not going around that statement. That is racist. We're not going, oh, that was culturally inappropriate. No, that's racism right there.
the first Latina chosen
Oh
to lead
no,
the
I lost my spot. There it is.
Then she adds, describing the boy allegedly misbehaving at an MLK parade.
Treated him like a little white kid, which I was like, this kid needs a beat down. Like, let me take him around the corner and then I'll bring him back.
Councilman Bonin and his husband said they are appalled, angry, and disgusted. No child should ever be subjected to such racist, mean, and dehumanizing comments, especially from a public official. Herrera, the labor leader, resigned his post overnight. Within hours of the recording surfacing, Martinez said she was sorry, saying, I sincerely apologize to the people I hurt. I ask for forgiveness from my colleagues and from the residents of this city.
Resign! Resign!
But even after she resigned her powerful post as council president, protesters outside Martinez's home and at city council demanded more. She should also resign her elected seat on LA's city council.
We're appalled that these people claim to represent us. They don't represent us. We're better.
They go on to gripe about the young lady, but
Can I throw a little bit of defense in?
Sure.
You've got the common sort of like denominator of, oh, look at him, the cheeky little monkey. That kind of, description of a small child. The problem is, to counter that is, monkey being synonymous with a racial slur. So she could have meant it innocently, like, oh, look, this kid's running around like a little monkey. But because of the connotations of using that word and the racial slurs that come with it, maybe that's been sort of like, what's the word? I always use it when I talk about it. Oh, come on. When you bring two things together.
Analogy.
No.
Sex.
Correlated. No, not correlated. No. Conflated, sorry. When
Conflated.
So there's been that conflation of she's saying a certain thing innocently, but it's been conflated with the racial connotations that comes with that particular kind of language, and she may have meant it innocently. And this is not me throwing.
No, you are. And this whole I'm gonna play both sides towards the middle,
Okay.
like middle of the roading, is bullshit. She does not get an out at all. Because let me tell you something that Europeans may not know. Mexicans don't like black people.
Yeah.
It's no secret to blacks. It's no secret to Mexicans. But everybody else might say, oh, brown is brown is brown. No, brown is not brown. Because as hard as the black people have fought for civil rights in this country that everybody has endured the fruits of, you're still an N-word, and you better stay away from my daughter.
No, but this is the thing. Like,
it is not the same.
If someone was to say, like, "Oh, look at you, cheeky little monkey," to one of our kids, I wouldn't straight away go, "What? Calling my daughter a monkey?" We're about to have a little roll around in this car park right now. You know, I'd be like, "Oh, cheeky, look at you, little cheeky monkey," that kind of thing. So I don't know whether it's being used in that context.
Yes, you
or
don't
the
have
more- or the
you.
more
No,
sinister
Wayne. I hate it when you say shit like that. You do know.
No, I don't. No,
She's apologized, so you do know. She knew.
Mikey,
She said it behind closed doors. She said it where she thought nobody could hear it, and she said it with fellow Latino city council members. That
No,
was
but
a,
Mikey,
it was a
Mike-
slur. It's not an accident, Wayne. You can't give people bail when they do something wrong. That you're
Okay.
doing the same shit that Kelly McEnany
I'm
was
not-
doing for fucking Trump. You can't
No,
give them bail for
no,
this. She
Mikey,
knows what
Mikey,
she said. She
Mikey,
said it on
I'm-
purpose.
I'm talking. Thank you for saying that correctly, by the way. not on accident. The thing is, Mikey, like I will take people as I find them, and the cultural difference between
Okay, are you talking about this situation or in a theoretical world? Because you're conflating reality and an example.
I'm talking about this situation because at the end of the day, she's been it's been taken as she said it in a racial way. So she's apologized. She's not resigned. She's apologized, and
No, she actually did resign.
She resigned about 10 hours ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She resigned
Right.
recently.
But she's resigned under the pressure of what she said. Now, I could quite easily, as I say, someone calls my kid out, a cheeky little monkey, that kind of thing, and I'll be like, oh, I could take that one or two ways. And the way that I would generally take it is just like, that's what we call kids.
But I think in this context, especially, she's not saying it to the boy's parents. Hey, your kid's being a little cheeky monkey. She's saying it to a group of other Latino leaders, adults, and in a very disparaging way. First off, you don't say that about a child in general, let alone somebody else's child who is not in the room with you. That is what we're talking. We're not, we're talking directly about her using the phrase monkey. That and also saying that this child is bouncing around and should be beaten into submission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's. I'm more concerned about that. Like you actually want to cause physical harm to this kid.
Well, maybe she was talking about a theoretical kid. She was just meaning take him around the corner and talk to him. That's what you did on the first one. Is you give this unnecessary bail to something that's so obvious. That was a racial slur. And that was a threat of violence against somebody else's kid.
And if anything we get out of this is a fucking adult.
Right.
In front of other adults.
Right.
Why are adults speaking like this in front of other adults about a child of another adult that they work with?
Supposed to be working with and have respect for.
I would never, ever say anything like that about a child of somebody I work with in front of other adults, especially if that adult is not in the room, and in a disparaging manner about a child who should be beaten into submission.
Yeah, that's
because he's acting not like he's being treated like a white kid.
And the kid is a kid. If for any reason you get mad at a kid for the kid's behavior, you don't get kids at all. Yeah. And you don't remember what it was like to be a kid. Because parades are fucking boring. And your dad's on the fucking city council. You gotta be there at fucking 7 in the morning. They're all fucking day waving, throwing It sucks. Parades are a fucking nightmare. They should ban
Probably
parades.
on the weekend, and
Right.
you want to be watching your
Cartoons.
your cartoons or playing your games or something like that.
No. Stand
And
out
you
here
do
and
not-
wave.
And you
that's
do
all,
not-
That's all good
that-
until your daughter is the carnival queen. Then it's fine. Look at her. Look how splendid she looks.
I don't know what that means.
Then carnivals are amazing.
What is a carnival queen? I don't. Brenda, can
Do
you
know what-
translate?
Do you know what?
I don't know what he's
Do you
saying.
know what carnival queen is?
No, I just said I don't know.
So when you have like your floats that go through your town with your different like groups, like your Boy Scouts and your brownies and all that, then you have the local carnival queens. You'd have like your Basildon Carnival Queen and her princesses and all that caper. Yeah, it's so.
Yeah, we don't call it that because it's not a thing.
We
Okay,
have
to
you.
you.
We have
it's
queens
not.
in her court for various things.
They're always trying to queen something. You know what I mean? Always trying to make somebody
The pageant, their
Sorry,
pageant
don't make
stuff.
don't make me send Lizzie to haunt you.
See, I ain't gonna touch it, but whatever.
I can. It's fine.
All right.
He's a landowner, Mikey.
Exactly.
Oh, that's right.
He's a landowner.
Lord of the land.
Lord of the
All
Realm.
right, this is my last try to join. How bad
Hello.
is the delay now?
I'm not
This
sure.
disembodied voice.
Okay.
Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello.
Hello
Sorry,
there.
sorry, it's Florence here.
Hello, Dad.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello, Daddy.
Hello.
Father.
But yeah, fuck that bitch. She resigned.
Yep.
Oh, and just on a lark, I kind of looked up how much LA City Council people make without any like additional titles or anything like that. $207,000 a year. Yeah,
Wait.
$207,000 a year.
$207,000. Not if you're like the foreman or just a council member.
Yes, that's what they pay
Right.
all of their council members.
Jartan, pack your bags, pick me up on the way. We're going to LA.
All you got to do is make it to city council, and you'll be a millionaire within the decade.
We
Yes.
could boss it.
you-
We could
you
just
think-
go there full woke.
Yes. How just imagine that campaign, right? Me with the beard, the hair, and the silly fucking tattoos, and then Wayne. On a
with the beard, the hair, and the city tattoos.
And by the
there's
way,
Wayne.
if you ever, and I've told you this numerous times over the years, if you ever see my name on a ballot, please do not vote for me. It's going to be a bad day for everybody involved.
Right,
Please
Jartan,
do not vote for me.
Jartan, here's the plan. What we do is me and you, we fly to LA, right? We get a citizenship. We borrow one of Madonna's kids, so we get like a little Indian nipper, right? We are the most woke couple ever. We'll run the place.
I don't know, dude. You know that's LA, right? You think you're gonna
Yeah,
out?
we'll be
You
alright.
think you're gonna out gay LA?
Yeah.
Good luck. Godspeed, my friend.
Yeah, we're going to out-woke the woke capital of the world.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
It's just that
because
easy.
We're European. We're allegedly gay, and we have a mixed race child. Yeah, we fucking we've got every
Yes,
box
and we're
ticked.
both sitting in the corner underneath a blanket trying to eat like a beef sandwich at 2 a.m. because we're sick and fucking tired of aubergine fucking salads. That's not happening, mate. Like, that is not a fucking sacrifice I'm willing to make.
To translate for our American listeners and viewers, aubergine is eggplant. Eggplant.
Can't make up words.
The dick
No,
emoji.
it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Go and have a moussaka without having aubergine.
Thank you. Vic Striker in the chat says, I'm putting Jartan's name on a ballot in Connecticut. Good luck, Jartan. We hope you get your seat.
Yeah.
But
Governor Jartan.
we have a crunching gear chains here. I have a video. It's very,
Jesus.
it's very upsetting to me because, well, I'll just play it and then I'll get you guys' reaction. And then
Wait, Mikey.
Yes.
Oliver.
Mikey, give me a second because of my really fucking dodgy internet connection, I cannot have video going. So you'll actually have to explain this to me like I was an audio listener afterwards. All right.
It's just a recording, so it's audio only.
Okay.
But this is Joe Biden's private voicemail plea to Son Hunter to get help for drug addiction. This got leaked a couple days ago.
Can I get some help? I don't know what to do.
A private 2018 voicemail from President Biden to his son Hunter was leaked. Biden pleads for his son to get help amid his drug addiction struggles. And it's just painting through a few pictures of that.
Dad, I called to tell you I love you. I love you more than the whole world, pal. Can I get some help? I don't know what to do. I know you don't either, but I'm here no matter what you need. No matter what you need, I love you.
And some of you might say, well, what's the big deal with that? The big deal with that is the fact that that leaked and the fact that Republicans are using that as a sign that, told you Hunter was fucked up. It's their gotcha. Look at him. Listen to him crying like a bitch.
Who leaked it?
Good question.
Because that's like
super personal.
person.
Super personal.
That's like someone like leaking a WhatsApp between us. Someone in that group has got to have leaked it. So how has that been leaked?
I think the video of or the audio of a dad clearly verklempt and clearly in real hold on, Wayne. In real human pain. When your baby boy is not doing so great. And there ain't much you can do. And it's just, I love you, pal. I love you more than the whole world. It's the most heartbreakingly sweet thing to be done. And that's an object of ridicule. Unreal. Go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah.
No, it just baffles me that in this day and age that such personal things can be leaked, and that's got to be by a trusted person. Do you know what I mean? Because that's not something you just happen across. This is a peer-to-peer conversation, and then how has that then become in the public domain? I don't get it. That means that someone that they have in their inner circle has either leaked it or they've leaked it themselves.
I'm gonna object to your use of the word inner circle. The White House runs as the White House, no matter who is the president. So it's not.
When did you say this was recorded?
That was from 2018.
So he wasn't president then.
Right, but your communications are got they have everybody's everything. So it didn't have to be like a Biden supporter who leaked this. You know what I'm saying? It's captured.
Okay. Well, I don't know how your system works.
Comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Charlton.
Yeah, I just have one comment. Listening to that makes me feel sort of dirty.
Right.
It's not meant for me. It's not something that it was meant for my ears. It's like listening through the walls at your neighbors or I feel like such a creep just listening to that.
voyeuristic, you know.
Yeah,
Because
because it's not
what are you
meant.
doing at your neighbour's house right now?
I'm not at my neighbour's house. I told you. I'm in Westeros.
Yeah, made up place.
Miss Brenna.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that is a deeply personal conversation. When you're talking to somebody, to get help, there are two paths in which somebody can do that. You have two paths when you're talking to somebody about getting help. You can get incredibly angry with them and yell and say, like, I can't take this anymore. You need to get help, or like I'm cutting you off, or you're not my family anymore. Or you can go this way, which is the very compassionate person that I think is it's hard to see in that kind of situation, because you are looking at two people who are in the public eye for various reasons.
Right.
And we are now looking at something that is emotional, that is personal, that is empathetic, and we have to take this as these are both human beings, regardless of how you feel about them in their public eye.
Right.
These are both human beings, and this is a human being moment between two of these human beings, and this should be treated like a human being moment. Regardless, I mean, you could despise both of them, you could love both of them, you could love one, hate the other. That doesn't matter, because these are two human beings in this very human moment. And it could not be easy for anybody to say those types of things to another person in private, let alone it coming out in public. So I can't believe any idiots would take that as a negative.
I think it's very interesting that 5 days before this, Joe Biden had this to say.
It's not just this morning. I saw there's a report. You guys can, as they say, as my grandkids say, Google it. But a report that came out, CNN, and says Republicans call Biden infrastructure program socialism. And then they ask for the money. And it goes through all of Republicans, the most conservative Republicans, who call it socialism, and how they're asking for it. A guy named Paul Gosar.
Buckle up, he's got receipts.
He's written 3 separate letters to the administration asking for projects in his district. He says it enhanced the quality of life, that ease congestion, boost the economy. Voted against it, says it's all socialism. Go down the list. Kentucky Representative Andy Barr, the biggest socialist agenda. 3 different projects he wants, citing the importance of safety and growth of his district. Rand Paul, I can go down the list, look it up. Socialism. I didn't know there were that many socialist Republicans. Think about it.
I love that.
Sleepy Joe woke up from his nap and he's got receipts.
Where's my salt and pepper shaker? I need to sprinkle this, get it ready to eat, because this is delicious.
He's
just.
So he comes out with this press conference, and he starts naming names, and he starts calling people out, and then lo and behold, 5 days later, this tape of him and his son, when his son's struggling with his addiction, gets leaked.
Weird that.
Funny.
Yeah.
Funny. So this is probably leftover scum that they dug up during the election.
Yeah. I don't think that a lot of people on the right actually understand what socialism is.
Right. It doesn't work like they think it works.
No. And again, the word that I completely brain farted about earlier, conflation, seems to be happening all over the spot when it comes to the word socialism. When it comes to, I mean, we touched on this when we had, back in the very early days, our libertarian friend who wanted us to have, we've got a fire department that should only look after your houses because I'm a libertarian. Okay, well, who pays for that? Oh, well, that don't matter. Fuck off. Right? You have a fire department that is paid for by the public purse that looks after everyone. Now, that is a form of socialism. The police are a form of socialism. Your healthcare system, yeah.
Iris Swede is about to have another aneurysm. If you, that's now. It's who controls the means of production. It's that.
No. But you said
who's
socially funded.
Wayne, you've got a new PM, right?
Yeah.
And she just announced like a new plan for how to save the economy, and she had like this whole speech about
shat the bed.
Yeah, she shat the bed because she said something about you have a surplus of what was it, like talent and all these like abstract things.
Oh yeah, we're
and
fucking amazing according to her.
Yeah, and her entire plan was like big fucking tax cuts for the super fucking wealthy because it's like trickle down economics on steroids.
Sorry, trustonomics.
Yeah, and then we know that the trickle down theory don't work, right? Because in Sweden they took away taxes on some of the taxes. We call them pointed taxes on petrol and diesel. What happened? Yeah, the oil companies, they raised the prices. They did the same thing with electricity. What happened? The electricity companies raised their prices to compensate for what? So for you as a consumer, it didn't make a freaking fucking difference. It's the exactly fucking thing. You have to pay the same at the pumps as you did as you did.
That's exactly it. That's exactly Zlatan. That is exactly it. What happens when you cut taxes for big
but
businesses?
Just give me a second.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, just give me a second. So it's the exactly fucking same thing when he points out that there's hypocrisy within it at the same time as these Republicans are doing everything they can to get their hands on federal funds to fund their own states. Where does that federal fund come from? It's fucking taxpayer money. When you keep, defunding the federal government, it just doesn't work. You can't defund it and then ask for the money.
Yeah.
Because there's no money to be had if nobody pays the fucking taxes.
I've posted the exact same question today because 12 years of Tory government. Tory is slang for conservative government over here. We've had all of our council tax has gone up. All of our VAT has gone up. Fuel, everything's just gone up, right? Yet they have cut public services to the bone. So where has the money gone? Because every year we're asked to pay more, but we get less.
Where's the rum?
And then we sort of say, well, hang on a minute. If we're paying more, surely we should get more. No, that's not how it works. It's like you pay more and you get less, yet the skimming gets greater and greater every single year. Yeah. So how can we possibly look at this in a logical way and go, oh, that makes sense. That makes fucking sense. If I'm paying rent in my house and my rent goes up, I expect a better service. I expect more from my landlord.
But them's the breaks.
Thank you, Mikey. But what we're getting now over here, especially with like council tax, which funds police, fire, and local authority, yet they're trying to reduce the amount of bin collections. They're trying to reduce, they are reducing the police, and they are reducing firefighters on decent wages. So where's all that money going? And this is the exact same model, and that is the socialist kind of aspect of our life over here. National insurance pays for healthcare. Healthcare is being like stripped and cut to fuck. So waiting times are going up. The NHS is being starved. Staff are leaving under morale, and it's the Chomsky narrative of how do you privatise something that's socially funded? You underfund it, you cut it to the bone, and then you run it down in the media. That way, you create you manufacture consent for privatisation. But in reality, when these things first started, they were started because there was a need to look after the people. And the people, like post-Second World War, and it's the same in America. Post-Second World War, everyone looks at the post-Second World War era. Oh, this was our heyday. This is where we was like the massive boom and everything. Why? Because you was trying to rebuild a country after it was fucking destroyed by a war.
And we taxed the incomes of people making
95.
Exactly. So much money because they did come back and, you know, we were rebuilding. So real estate for, you know, wood, metals, materials, all that was being taxed so that we could actually get in and build an infrastructure. And that's how we got highways and waterways and
The national
we got
parks.
public services. We got better police, better fire, better social services, better schools. We were able to send GIs who came back from the war to college so that they can actually get educated and be members of society. So then we had the baby boom because of it, because we were able to pay for people to have children. And
Can't have that again.
and then so that was something that came out of that. But then when we got into our Reagan era, our Reagan economics, it was completely opposite. It was flipped on its head. And now we're dealing with, because the boomers who were born in that nice, beautiful era, now we're the ones that were making all the money, and they're like, holy shit, I don't want any of it. Like, I don't want to pay the government or these lazy people to that.
And now we're paying for their retirement.
Exactly.
Speaking of people, speaking of people's flipping sides.
Can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who are driven by cowardly wokeness, who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism, who actively...
There's so much wrong with what she just said.
Oh, can we count the buzzwords? Let's count the buzzwords.
Let's go.
I can no longer remain in today's...
I'm really happy this is not a drinking game.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers
2, 3,
who are driven by cowardly wokeness,
4, 5,
who divide us by
5, 6,
racializing every issue
7,
and stoking anti-white
8,
racism,
9,
who actively work to undermine
I've
our
run out of
God-given
fingers.
freedoms that are
I don't have enough fingers
10,
for this one.
enshrined in our Constitution, who
12,
are hostile to people of faith
13,
and spirituality,
14,
who demonize the police
15,
but protect
16,
criminals at
17,
the expense of law-abiding Americans,
18,
who believe in open borders, who
19,
weaponize the national security state to go
20,
after their political opponents,
21,
and above all, who are dragging us ever closer to nuclear war.
22.
Now, I believe in a government that's of the people, by the people, and for the people.
23.
Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. Instead, it stands for a government that is of, by, and for the powerful elite.
24.
Now, I'm calling on my fellow common sense, independent-minded Democrats
26.
to join me in leaving the Democratic Party. If you can no longer stomach the direction that the so-called woke Democratic Party ideologues are
29.
taking our country, then
30.
I invite you to join me.
I can. She got 30 fucking buzzwords in a minute and 18 seconds. That's got to be a land speed record somewhere.
Who knew Dave Rubin could do drag?
Yeah,
that's exactly
bad one, Wayne. Try again.
Yeah,
Bad one.
We're
bad
not
one.
going to do that.
No.
First thing, Tulsi Gabbard hasn't been part of the Democratic Party since before she ran for president. Like, I'm not even like, wait, you're still here? Like, you know, she's the person at the party where you're like closing up and putting away food, and she's like, let's go out. Why are you still here? Nobody likes you.
It's 3:05 at the New Year's Eve party, and everyone's like, "Girl, go."
Yeah.
We have work. Like we're done.
She's been on Fox News. She's been on all of the other
Tucker Carlson
them weird ones you've got over there.
No, they love her.
Mm-hmm.
They love her because she's a Democrat that speaks against the Democrats. So
correct. She's the Candace Owens.
Of course they're gonna want somebody who on one side has the big D next to them, but isn't part of that. We don't accept her.
What is the American version of? We've got GB News over here, which is kind of like, is it America? Good Morning America or something like that. I can't remember the name of the show or the channel.
You have to be more specific. What is
TMZ?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what
the right wing, the right wing version of Fox, but it's more right than Fox. America Online, is it? OAN, that's it.
Yeah. OAN.
OAN, sorry.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the.
So that's
the
even
letters.
further to the right than.
But she's been on that.
Yeah.
I'm just a Newsmax. Tim says in the chat. Maybe that's it.
Newsmax.
Sorry, Newsmax.
Well. Yeah, those very strong right-wing propaganda.
Well, let's just chalk this up as sometimes one party writes a bigger check. If they wanted her to stay a Democrat, they should have paid her what she asked for. Or she will burn this party down. Speaking of burning the party down, Kanye West, Kid Rock, and Ray J at the premiere of Candace Owens' BLM documentary, The Greatest Lie Ever. So you have to let me finish sentences, or I swear to God, I will start muting you. BLM documentary, The Greatest Lie Ever Sold. And boy, don't these boys look dapper, all dressed to the nines. Go ahead, Wayne.
Isn't Ray J the geezer that used to go out with Kim Kardashian?
Made her famous.
Yeah.
And he's knocking around with Kanye West,
who is wearing the Lego edition of rain galoshes. Looks like it was 3D printed from a computer with Windows 98.
Wow. Because when you said that array of names, I was like, surely not.
Yeah, Mr. I Hit It First is standing right next to his new best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's amazing to me. Sorry, continue. Sorry, I was just baffled by that.
Club right there.
Right. I can't keep nobody club. Why don't they love
Nobody
me?
Loves me.
Why won't they love me?
Guess I'll go and eat.
So you can imagine, much like Mr. Ray J's suit here, it's been a long time since 2001. Since these men were important, since these men were pivotal to young culture, because that's probably the last year that we can consider any of these people young.
Isn't Ray J Brandy's brother?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Who I will refuse to call Brandy. I will only call her Moesha. Sorry, your name is Moesha forever.
I've still got it. I've still got it.
She is Moesha forever. Whisper singing ass. But yes, he's had a very large suit on for everybody who's on the audio portion. Kid Rock is wearing a very rose tinted glasses with a fedora, cream leather jacket, some red jeans, and some lugs, it appears.
I guarantee those pants are corduroy.
Yeah, and their boot cut as well.
Yeah.
And his boots are scuffed.
Oh.
Maybe
He
Kanye.
couldn't even get like a new pair of shoes?
Maybe Kanye scuffed him with his oversized boots.
Kanye's wearing wellies.
Yeah.
He's ready for the floodwaters to. Oh boy.
He's looking to go wading.
Yeah, he's gonna go help out with the storm relief down in Florida. He's also wearing a tuxedo jacket that looks like it's made for somebody roughly 3 to 5 shacks tall. I'm not exactly what size that jacket is, but it's a triple-digit number.
That is plastic. That is a plastic.
Vinyl.
It looks like Ray J's nicked Al Capone's shoes.
Yeah, he's definitely got the mobster wedged dress shoe going there. But yeah, are you guys gonna check out Candace Owens' new documentary?
No.
I'm not a fan of Candace Owens, so I think I won't worry so much about turning it on right now.
I mean, everybody should check it out. It's gonna be the greatest documentary ever, the greatest lie ever sold.
Candace Owens is just a horrible human.
And that goes right along with the Tulsi Gabbard and the Republicans doing their shitty shit. There's a common theme to all of this. Grift. It's profitable. You don't have to mean what you say. None of it has to be real. Just say it. Just say it. Take the check and then change your mind later. Like Gabby lied to be part of the Democratic Party, and she just was literally there to siphon off votes, which I called in week like fucking 2. That she was just there to split shit. If you guys remember, Kanye did the same fucking thing. Kanye ran for president as a Democrat just to siphon off the black vote.
If we take this little jar of the bomb and I'll sharpie it out and call it the bin. If we get a load of these in, we can sell it as our product and call it a weight loss product because it will.
Why are you terms of servicing us? Stop it! Don't do it on purpose. Why?
No, I'm just trying to grift like all these fuckers are. It's a joke, by the way, people. God.
Don't tell everyone to get your jokes. Tell better jokes so we don't get in trouble.
Oh, better jokes, right? Let me get my phone.
Oh, fuck. You know what? At this point,
no dad jokes. I'm cutting you off right this very second. No.
You're gonna get the Jazzy Jeff. So it's this undercurrent theme of just say shit. People will pay you money and you can change your mind later. I'll stoke up fear and anger in the hearts of Americans, and then I'll just, plead the fifth later.
Yeah. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, that shit, your opinions mean something, people. Your words mean something. You can't just say whatever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want. We just talked about it on Dig on America the other day with the Brandenburg case. With people inciting violence and the words that they use and how far the First Amendment will get you. And Alex Jones shows you how far the First Amendment will get you. You incite violence, you allege claims that are false, and there are negative repercussions for those claims. You're going to pay. One way or another. You're going to pay. Pay what you
owe. And on that note.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you was queuing something up there, Mikey. Sorry.
On that note.
But we have an and finally story, unless anybody has anything else to cover.
No,
I think we're good. I covered what I wanted to.
St. Louis's own. Oh shit, wrong one. St. Louis's own. There we go.
There's no Tim.
Nelly gifted his jacket to a fan after his performance at a NASCAR event. There's been an ongoing trend of black folk getting into NASCAR. Michael Jordan has sponsored a couple teams, I think. Rich black folk are trying to get into NASCAR, so that's probably why he was there.
Are you driving today?
Nelly is greeting a man with it looks like cerebral palsy. He's in a mobility chair. Doesn't look very verbal, and he is hyping my man up. He just asked him if he's driving today.
Oh! Jacket! Oh! My God. You hold on to this thing. You make it good.
It's his birthday.
Oh, man.
All right.
Oh my God.
Next time you driving.
Heck yeah. Thanks, dog.
And Nelly gave up his probably $400 fucking jacket.
Yeah.
Notice he didn't take off all his clothes.
It wasn't hot in there, Wayne.
Thank
The
God.
temperature was
That's
okay.
right.
The
That's
temperature was
right.
okay. You know what?
It's moderate in here.
It got a little hot, which is why that jacket had to come off. You know.
But
Yeah,
not
the-
too hot. It's not he's not inside, he's outside. So
Right.
it's not in here.
It's getting hot outside. Then he would
No.
just go inside.
Yeah. The air conditioning.
Yeah.
Like a normal person does.
But shout out to Nelly. Nelly's been doing a
was
lot of good stuff for a
cool.
long time. And
That's really cool. I
He's only
really
a little
like
fella as well, isn't he?
Nelly? He might be like 5'10".
Yeah, he's only a small person.
that fan was very excited.
Yeah, my man was loving it.
Yeah, he
Loving
was-
it.
That was amazing. And it was his birthday, so
What a good birthday
was-
present.
that was cool.
Why are there so many famous people that are small?
Because you big lot are fucking untalented.
Wow.
And on that bombshell, we're getting the fuck out of
Wow,
here.
And yeah.
Sometimes you gotta spike that volleyball. You know what I mean? Sometimes they leave. They don't want to hit the lob over your head. You punish that lob.
No, you go for it.
I punished it. I love you, Wayne. I'm sorry if my words are hurtful.
Yeah.
It's for the show, Wayne. It's for the stream.
I hurt because
It's all for content. It's all for content, you fucking cunt.
I did it for the Vine. They said I wouldn't do it, but I did it for the Vine. They said I wouldn't do it.
They made me do it for ratings.
I had to.
Okay.
It had to
You're
happen.
couldn't resist.
You're basically a left-wing Alex Jones.
Ouch. Ouch. So for Brenna, for Wayne, for Shartan, and me,
The
Mikey Family,
globalists.
and the globalists.
Will we be in with these people? Are you kidding me?
One of us. One of us. But hey, Brenna, you could be stuck with anyone else, but you're stuck with us. But
But them's the breaks.
bye.
Oh.